Prepare to embark on a journey of epic proportions as we unveil the Aphrodite League, the ultimate battleground where the most skilled players in Legends of Runeterra clash for eternal glory. Within every league of this all-year tournament, 8 players test their mettle each month, vying for promotion, fighting against demotion and etching their names into the annals of Runeterra history. The qualification tournament serves as the ultimate trial by fire, determining the initial hierarchy of the Aphrodite League. Here, all entrants clash in an epic free-for-all to claim their starting positions within the league system. Only the top contenders ascend to the Alpha League, while the remaining ranks are distributed evenly into subsequent leagues of 8 players each. The tournament adapts to the number of participants, creating as many leagues as needed to uphold the structure. Those who falter and place beyond the cutoff, however, find themselves cast aside, their aspirations halted at the gates of competition. As the league takes shape, 8 champions emerge from the ranks to form the roster for an example run.
It's Draven time!
Follow the wind, but watch your back.
I'd rather be anywhere than here.
What delightful agony we shall inflict.
Another day in the field.
I am more than I seem.
Rules are made to be broken, like buildings or people.
I'm always up for a round or two.
On the first Saturday of the month, the league commences with a double round-robin group stage where players are divided into 2 groups of 4 based on your seeding. Each competitor faces every other player in the group twice, fighting tooth and nail to secure a coveted top spot. Matches here are more than just victories, they are already stepping stones to the final stages. The rankings at the end of this phase determine the seeding for the high-stakes playoffs. The second Saturday of the month transforms the competition into a dynamic playoff bracket that tests both skill and resilience. Players are matched based on their performance in the group stage, with the number of wins required to advance to the finals directly tied to the rank in the groups. Higher ranked players benefit from shorter paths, needing fewer victories, while lower ranked competitors must navigate a more grueling journey to keep their championship hopes alive. In this system, every match carries significant weight. Top performing players from the group stage enjoy a distinct advantage, but even those starting in less favorable positions have a chance to climb back into contention through perseverance and smart play. The playoff structure rewards consistency while offering redemption for those who can adapt and overcome. By the end of the day, only the most deserving players will have secured their places in the final stage, setting the stage for a thrilling conclusion of the month's competition. The journey culminates on the third Saturday with the decisive finals and elimination stage. This stage is not just a battle for titles, but a war to secure or reclaim honor, prestige, and progression. Both the finals and elimination stage will feature a double elimination bracket, in which the grand final will be replayed if necessary. The top 2 players from each league ascend to the next higher tier, carving a path toward the coveted Alpha League, the apex of skill and prestige. The bottom 2 players are cast down into the league below, making room for new challengers hungry for glory. The fourth Saturday of each month offers a smaller qualification tournament where aspiring players from across the community can compete for spots in the lowest league of the hierarchy. Here, legends are born as newcomers seize their chance to enter the league system and climb the ranks. In the Aphrodite Alpha League in its cascading tiers, every card played, every decision made, and every moment matters. This is more than just a competition, it is a proving ground for champions. Will you rise through the ranks, outplay your opponents, and claim your place among the legends? Or will the unforgiving tides of demotion sweep you away into obscurity? The Aphrodite League beckons. Step forward, summon your champions, and let the battle for Runeterra's ultimate glory begin. Welcome to the Aphrodite League, the pinnacle. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Aphrodite Alpha League knockout stage. I'm glad you're here, and in this today's day, we are going to have 8 players from the league fighting for the 4 spots in the finals. This means we have a lot of exciting matches up ahead, and I'm not excited alone. I'm here with my co-caster Armageddon, who is,
Hello. I was here last week as well, and I'm happy to be joined by Flixos today.
yes. So last week we had Lava, now we have me. And as in the last week, we had Lunaya taking the win in the group stage as well as Synergy, which is the reason why they are facing each other first in the triangle bracket. And one win is already enough to make the spot for finals because they got first in their respective groups. But before we go more into the bracket of today, I would like to take a look into the lineups because the rotation came this week and people are cooking.
Indeed, we do
So,
have that
oh, we have it together.
together.
Incredible. So sadly, we are missing the names on top, but
Oh.
on the very left, we have Lunaya with Nidalee SI, Callista Mount Targon, and the champion pile, Ionia SI, which we will take a look in more detail later on, the decks exactly. But we can see Triple SI, Fearsomes, is the strategy Lunaya is going for. It is something we have seen more than enough in the last rotation already. And oh, yeah, thank you. And her first opponent is Synergy, who is bringing Annie Gwen, Nora Gnar, and Jenna Nyla. Any thoughts on this lineup?
Um, no, and Jenna Nyla. I mean it's a fairly fast lineup, like everything in this meta, but compared to the other things we see today, and in this format especially, it's fairly controlly. We have Nora Gnar, which is, I can spoil that, this is gonna be Banditry.
Hmm.
And everyone hated that deck. I mean, not everyone, but a lot of people hated that deck when it came out. But since then, Banditry has been nerfed significantly, and we will see if it can hold up to today's standards. Janna
Uh,
Nyla, of course, a staple, and any Gwen, probably as controlly as you can make a deck nowadays.
yeah, right now with the rotation, uh, control is kind of deleted. That is something we can see across the entire board here. I mean, we have Nora Swain from Kaizen, who is going for the slowest lineup I can see. Right now, everything is just a lot of combo, a lot of mid-range, which I personally enjoy. I'm a huge combo enjoyer, and actually said we don't get to see Azirelia today. But people seem to be picking on the Annie Gwen. That is the most played deck today with 4 occurrences. And generally, Annie seems to be the winner of the rotation. Obviously, Jenna Nyla being, I think, entirely untouched. I'm not sure if they lost a few cards, but I could still play my list from last rotation. So that's that. And yeah, we briefly talked about the lineups. Do you have anything else that sparks your eye right now when you're looking at the lineups?
I'm very intrigued how Watt wants to win with his Evelyn Garen list.
Yeah, actually, when I first looked at the lineups tonight, like the only comment I had to myself is like, oh wow, he's playing Evelyn. He wants to lose. But I mean, he can prove us otherwise. I'm not, I'm not jinxing it. Evelyn Garen definitely seems like an interesting choice. Maybe we can later on look into his games in a bit more detail.
Let's
And
see.
yeah, something else I want to point out really quick is Lunaya being, you can call her a veteran by now. She's actually for the third time in this opening match of the Triangle Bracket because she has won all 3 group stages she has been in so far. The first two times she faced Vendorti, who this time only made second place behind Synergy. So this is definitely going to be interesting. And what's also interesting is Lunai's approach to the tournament format this time. Because with the banning strategies, you can only play the same champion or region combination twice, which should limit your options later on. But if we take a look at the current restrictions of Lunaya, we can see that she actually has nothing banned yet, which is the first time in the entire tournament, including test runs, by the way, that yeah, like by the knockout stage where players submitted 3 lineups, she didn't repeat a single champion or region combination twice. So she has a bunch of champions and region combinations limited, but she's free to play anything in the finals, and this might be a crucial advantage.
Indeed. We will see how it turns out. And she was able to win everything even without limiting her champions, so it wasn't a disadvantage until I mean, of course it is a disadvantage, but it was not impactful enough to lose her
Yes.
games.
Yeah, that is true, and I actually would like to start looking at Lunaya's decks because while we see the limited champions here, there are a lot more champions she played. Now you might ask yourself, how does that work? It is because with the rules of the league, only champions played as a 2-off or 3-off are counted towards the restrictions. So if you play 1-offs, like she does in his first deck here with the Elise and Sevier, they do not count towards the restrictions, and that's something she takes advantage of. Although I would argue that the consistency loss you might get from that is quite severe.
Indeed, my favorite champion split is always like playing a 3-2-1 and still having 6 champions, but being able to play 3 champions overall. That makes your deck more powerful most of the time, but it is less consistent with not having like 3 copies of your 2 best champions, and this is even less consistent. But to be honest, if you're playing decks like Luna's playing today with those fearsome rave combo decks, you don't even need your champions too bad. So I don't think it's too much of a problem.
And this is exactly what I was thinking as well, because Lunaya is playing a lot of fearsomes, which do not really require the champions, right? Um, she can just chill and like play one-offs, and the deck works without the champions perfectly fine. And like this, she keeps her options up for the finals. Let's move on to the second deck, which is actually quite similar. And here she is playing Callista with Nocturne and Zoe as the one-offs, which are once again not counted, and it's more or less the same deck. Mistwave. Whoa.
Yes.
Two Iron Conquest. Something I would like to point out, we had it in the other deck as well, is the Song of the Isles, which gives lifesteal to a unit. And also, I mean, I don't think the fearsome is really important. Unless
Actually,
you want to give
kinda
it
is.
to Winding Light.
I have seen I have seen like a few of the Aegis games, because Luna brought like the exact same lineup to Aegis this evening. So last evening basically, or today. Uh,
Yeah.
as
It's weird. Time zones.
time zones. Um, and I saw one game where she played like Winding Light into Song of the Isles
Yeah.
onto Winding Light, and I think it won her the game. So
Okay.
this fearsome actually matters potentially.
Yeah. Something I could just see is that lifesteal is very important because of how aggressive the current meta is. But yeah, once again, other than that, there's nothing really to point out. I like the Mark of the Isles in the which he also plays in all 3 of her decks. Spoiler. I was arguing about that in like the last rotation because I was confused why Fearsomes wouldn't play it. It was just rotated. Now it's rotated in. And let's take a look at the third deck, where things get really crazy. Because
Before we go to the third deck, one thing I want to point out is with the Binding Likeness that is especially interesting for the mirror if you're facing another fearsome deck, because then you have like big Mistwraith spots staring at each other, and instead of trading off with giving them Overwhelm,
yeah,
you can trample over them basically.
that's true. That's a good point. But now we can move on to the third deck, and Lunaya made history with another point. For the first time, we have a champion pile being played in the Aphrodite League. Lining up perfectly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana, 6 champions. And this is an interesting deck, to say the least. But as for the core, it is just the same. Fearsome aggro, fearsome combo, rather. And like, do you think the champions actually matter in here, or are they just for?
I mean,
I don't
we
know.
wouldn't play champions if they weren't impactful, right? And I can see some synergies here with, for example, cannon levels from those Mistwraiths comparatively fast.
Yeah,
Is a
but then we have something like the Ari, which is like,
Ari is maybe
huh?
a bit questionable. I don't, but you do trigger the Wraith summon effect twice, and if you attack with Ari and one ephemeral Wraith, you can bounce the ephemeral Wraith. Then it's not ephemeral anymore if you replay it. So there is some synergy here. That of course synergizes with the aggressive playstyle you want to take. You can give level Z fearsome lifesteal with the Song of the Isles.
Hmm.
So there is some synergy with those champions here, I would say.
Yeah, I can see that. And yeah, yeah. Other than that, there's nothing too exciting about the deck. It's really the champions who just changed the identity of the 3 decks of Lunaya, which is entirely different. For Synergy, who plays 3 very distinct decks, starting off with Annie Gwen. Very few champions, a lot of control spells, plays the Chibok Landmark, and this is a deck I can really see being strong in this meta. And I mean, 4 people brought it, so people seem to be convinced on it. I personally haven't played against it yet on ladder. Do you have more experience on that?
I mean, I have played against it. I have played it myself 1 or 2 times, and the pile basically screams like anti aggro deck, right? Where we have
Yeah,
so much healing, so much drain, especially, and we have the box to deal with swarm decks. Value
yeah.
wise, we have some issues because we don't really have draw or card generation, which we would normally see in those Noxus control decks.
I mean, yeah, like a lot of it is rotated, I believe. We have the
Yes.
Sentry and the Glare as a draw.
So we have
Uh,
to rely on the cards we get naturally, have to use our resources as efficiently as possible,
mhm.
and maybe
So,
get our Ravenbloom Conservatory.
yeah, so you would argue that while the deck is a strong contender in the meta, it requires a lot of skill to be piloted
Oh, that for
appropriately.
sure.
Yeah. Then let's move on to a deck that some people would call not so skillful. It's Bandletree. You play units, you win. But Bandletree got hit pretty hefty, and I personally doubt it like can find its way, but Synergy decided to bring it. And this is something we cannot simply disregard. So let's think about it. What does the deck really do? Obviously, we have the Nora, which synergizes extremely well with the Bandletree.
Yes.
And other than that, yeah, just a Bandle pile with Explorers and some control tools I can see. Um, I can't really judge it because it seems like my experience on Nether is very distinct from others. I only play into Gen and Nyla and some exceptions. So once again to you, I'm gonna have to ask: did you face this deck already, like
Uh,
banditry in general?
I have not faced this deck. My take on this deck would be that you will probably want to look at it more as a like Nora Swain style deck, where this is more of a control pile with the early birds, the flocks, scorched earths, and stuff.
Hmm.
And the banditry is not your primary win condition, more of a secondary win con. Most of the time, just card generation, because card generation is something that's severely lacking for control decks nowadays. So
Yeah.
banditry can probably give you that extra value you want to have right now.
Yeah, although mm, I don't really see the win con here. I guess you could argue with the Nora stalling until the opponent is out of resources because that is something Bandle City is really good at. But I guess we will see, to be honest, because this is our opening match. And moving on to the third deck, that probably doesn't need too much explanation. It is General Nyla. Whoa,
Although
what a
we
new deck. Interestingly enough, though, he plays Sudap, Rummage, Stress Testing, and Ruined Rex.
indeed, that's a newer version that I think it's Lava's version if I'm not mistaken. Um,
I'm not sure who came up with it, but I really like the Stress Testing.
and
That is
it's
now rotated in again
way
because
more
it.
combo-y and
Hmm,
early aggressive.
yes.
And we will
Uh,
have to see if that's better or worse, but it's definitely different than what we have seen before.
Normally, I'm not a friend of the Rune Rex without Temple, but I think the Stress Testing might enable it. Also, the Rummage is interesting, which I couldn't really judge. And the Suit Up, I think we talked about recently. It's like it's not doing too much health wise because Janna is 4 HP, Nyla is 3 HP. Um, I guess you protect your Janna followers a bit that are on relatively low health, but it's rather more for opponent has to keep it in mind, and taking damage against Janna and Nyla can be very deadly very soon.
Yes.
Alright, now that we have seen all the decks, we can move on to the banning stage. And Armageddon is in a comfortable position not to have not having to guess any bans. It is on me to embarrass myself today and guess the bans. So first of all, Lunaya, I am pretty sure would ban Jananaida here. Just because first of all it's Jananaida, and second of all, the other removal has quite a good chance into fearsomes, which are, in my opinion, a bit weaker right now. Um, which the ban I'm really struggling with is what Synergy would ban. And I'm looking at those lists and kind of have a tough time to decide. But I think the Targon version with Winding Light seems the scariest, but I can also see the Shurima version and Sevier Strong Champion. Lunaya would get Nidali, which is something to not disregard. The Merciless Hunter can come in clutch, but I would settle on the Targon version in the end. Ah,
Oh, sorry.
okay. So we got spoiled, I think, with the Lunaya ban there.
A bit.
Um,
But you are correct on the Targon version that got banned.
Yay!
You guessed this one correctly, but I I am afraid that Luna decided to ban any Gwyn.
Yeah, which is well, yeah, yeah. I kind of get it too. It's just I see Jen and Nyla neuron activation ban. That's my thinking process. on that.
If you're
Uh,
yes.
so do you have any predictions for now that we know the bands? How this will turn out? Because I would say Synergy 2-1. I think the General Nida. I have as you can see, I have a lot of respect for the deck, and um, yeah. So I think Synergy will win with the General Nida, and Lunaya can beat Bandletree once but not twice. That is my prediction for the game score. What do you think?
I think the Banditry matchup might be a bit harder than you think for Luna because we do have the early bird to discard Harrowing, which is really important in this matchup.
Hmm.
So we are losing one main win con, and Harrowing is the main win con for the fearsome decks if you are playing against uh, controlling decks that want to remove the waves. And if
Yeah, right.
Synergy is able to remove the waves, he can actually win with this Nora Gnar. And Jenna Nyla, of course, can do some degenerate stuff. We will have to see if
Yeah.
Synergy is high rolling a bit.
On the other hand, Synergy only plays two natural fearsome blockers aside from the Gnar, and he plays them as a 2-of and 1-of. So he has in his entire deck he has three followers who can block fearsomes and like his 4-mana champion, which I think he doesn't really want to block with. And it's Banditry, so it's like more ping focused with the Pytos, the Pokestick that Nara generates. Warlock is technically a ping and glare, while the Mistwaves have 2 HP. So I think there's a good chance that Lunaya might find a window to run over the deck, but I agree with you, not consistently. So that is my deduction for the match. And you would guess a 2-0?
I would guess I would also guess a 2-1.
Okay. Then we are agreeing on that. Maybe just not on how we get there, but that's fine. The game will start in just a second while players are arranging their bands, finding each other, and then we can start with the opening match of the Aphrodite Alpha League. And I am very, very excited for that. And they are just getting done. So welcome now once again. We have it and can start with the mulligan. The opening game will be Jenna Nyla into the champion pile of Ionia SI. So, Arma, who do you think is favored here? How will this play out, especially considering the opening hands that we see? I mean, we see one opening hand. Now
Yeah.
we see both.
Um, I
That's a block.
I
Yeah.
have seen Box do a lot into Jenna Nyla, but you also that also means the Jenna Nyla player is to run into the box, which Synergy is probably not gonna do too much. So we are gonna see how that works out. But we don't have too much of our engine cards. No, not really Mistwaves. No way to copy print them. And the wave decks have actually lost something in this patch because we are not running the Deathless free job anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
So this deck might be weaker than before.
Yeah. Synergy now draws into Eye of the Storm, which normally would be very sad, but he plays Sonnet Urchin, can discard it to draw one, and draw one. Is actually the Jenna now able to play it put up for attacking and play more and more. I really like the Sonnet Urchin tech. We didn't talk about it previously, I believe. But it seems I mean, it makes sense, right? Because you can discard cards. You have for 1 cost, you have a draw to reach your draw 2, maybe with Mariam, but also with the Pool Shark.
Indeed. I mean, I'm also a fan of the one drop being played. It just enables you to get those draw twos a lot easier. For
Yeah,
just
exactly.
1 mana, you get 1 draw.
Oh, and the Nyla is fleeting. Now Sunji has to make a choice. Does he play the Nyla or... I mean, he can play the Jenna and updraft the Nyla, obviously.
I would assume he updrafts the Nyla. That's
Yeah,
probably what I would do.
and
I don't.
probably the Rune Drakes.
Although
Or?
Rune Rex could be fairly strong
No,
next
yeah,
turn.
true. Yeah.
He
probably wants
is
to keep
pretty
it.
strong in general in this matchup because everything is like on this 2 HP
2 HP,
threshold.
yes, that's true. I missed that. That is on me. And Synergy draws a beautiful hand.
We
with
might
those
just
cards.
play double Cloudwiner this turn and Rex next turn. This
Yes,
might
that
be
seems like a pretty good play. Although, we are leaving ourselves vulnerable into harrowing with the play, because when we are kind of lacking answers, mind that Jin and Nyla also has a severe lack of natural fearsome blockers, as we can
indeed.
see on the board right now. So there's an argument to keep the Rune Drakes, but
But maybe he will keep the Rune Rex. Because until now
he
we are not
discard. I
pressured
know. Yeah.
to use it. But I think if you use it next turn, we might just push for lethal on turn 7.
Depending on the blocks, maybe, but I can see your point. I would actually kind of see attacking with... Nah, not attacking with the Janna, that's my bad. I really like the Zonite Urchin. I didn't think of it before, but it's a really great addition to the deck.
It is indeed.
And yeah, Lunaya taking the blocks here. The Jenna Nyla only has even damage aside from holding Gale, so dropping with units for 1 HP is basically free. And there's a 0-cost Snyder.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. She can be answered by the box, but Nyla is flipped. So that doesn't count.
Oh, that's a desperate glimpse. And we draw into another glimpse. Probably not what we want to see here.
Yep. Essentially taking it slow. Starting with a 1-drop. That costs 0 mana in this case. Leaving up all options while Lunaya stares at a board that is looking to kill her on the next turn.
Indeed. We are not... We cannot threaten lethal in any way. And I don't think Luna is running Withering Wail. Although it would be kinda sweet in this spot.
Can check, but no, she doesn't. Is it even in standard?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
There we have the Rune Tracks, by the way, which we talked about.
That poor Misdrave.
The Ruined Rex is looking to put an end to the first game here, dealing 5 damage to the opponent's Nexus, obviously destroying the Misdrave on board while leaving Synergy with a full board and still a Nyla in the backhand that Lunaya doesn't know about.
Indeed. We can decide to draw and take 1 damage more. That puts us into Mystic Shot range, but realistically, it doesn't matter what we are doing here.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but I don't like the Ari at all. Like, for the other champions, Kennen, has synergy with Misdraves. Zed and Gwen are champions that function pretty well on their own, but Ari?
Ari is maybe a bit more memey than the other champions. And we even have Nila level. Nila level's pretty fast. Especially after they buffed her to reduce the level up condition.
Hmm. So, most likely the last turn here for Lunaya, taking her first loss of the day, but that doesn't decide the match yet. Lunaya has the chance to play against Bendel Tree, and the first part of my prediction ended up being true. Being that Jenna Nyla will simply run over the Fearsomes, and yeah, so we are left with Bando Tree from Synergy playing either Fearsome. It doesn't really matter. So let's get into it. The mulligans are live.
So I assume we still keep harrowing, even with the threat of early bird. If they use early bird, it's whatever. Although we
Yeah,
don't
it's
have
kind
that
of a
early
one-for-one,
pressure.
but yeah, I was about to say, because we talked about it earlier, the way Lunaya wins this matchup is by abusing the fact that Bendel Tree doesn't have too many natural piercing blockers.
Yes, yes.
That is the win con, and I don't think Harry does a lot there, especially with the early bird threat. But Lunaya plays 3 harrowings, so I wouldn't even, like, in her place I wouldn't even keep it. If there was no early bird in the opponent's deck.
Yes. So we are playing Nora, gets answered by oh, I don't know how this card
Merciful.
merciful.
Merciless. Merciless.
Merciless. In my hands
Merciless.
it's always just gifts for Renekton.
Yeah. Right, Arda. Yeah, which is nice card, and now we can see here what I pointed out earlier. Lunaya's deck is full of 2 HP units, which is convenient for Jen and Nyla, but very inconvenient for Bandit's decks, because Synergy will now have to use 2 pings on every single of the units in order to remove them.
Yes.
And there is the Explorer. We probably pulled the Nora. Is that can be answered? That can be answered with Scorched Earth and Pythos.
No, it can't, because you cannot cast Scorched Earth.
Ah, yeah, sure. It's good. It's good that it's back, so I can start thinking again. True. I confused it with Disintegrate.
Yes.
Which is also back.
Disintegrate would have been really good here.
Yeah, but it isn't. Do we pull the Nora? We do, probably. Yeah, we should.
We should definitely. Nora gives us more fearsome blockers in the future.
Exactly. And we will see Synergy sacrificing both his Explorers and probably throwing in the Ceaseless Sentry into the ephemeral unit, drawing 1 in the process, playing the Pythos. And this means Synergy takes 4 damage, trades board, except for 1 Mistwraith still standing on the side of Lunaya. In return, Synergy just drew his 3rd early bird and is sitting on a pretty big hand. Although we have to say there's 2 Explorer spells, there's 1 pastry. So it could be better, but he has room to play with. And I assume we would get the Nidalee now? Yeah.
So,
Yes,
tempo-wise, Synergy's hand is pretty much a complete disaster. We have like basically 6 2-mana do-nothing cards in hand.
Yep.
So this is gonna be an issue.
This is definitely going to be an issue, you're right. And the Pokestick doesn't do too much for Synergy except for the draw. Because, I'll say it again, like the ping isn't doing much.
And I'm just
if
counting.
Lunaya does...
I'm just counting the mana. Maybe we will actually be able to level Nidalee next turn. We need
You,
6,
4
8, 9.
summons. Yeah. I did not count that.
No, we oh.
Oh! One, two,
I don't
three,
think we have.
four,
With the soul
7, 8.
cleave, we would have enough. I think.
No, I mean, we do have. We. Ah, no, never mind. Never mind.
We would need soul cleave.
Yeah, 1 mana off.
But maybe
And
we will
like,
cast soul cleave.
Together with just units and synergy now committing to this, setting up to kill it with the Pokestick, I would assume.
I would assume as well.
Yeah, I'm afraid this. He won't be happier. Dunaya will most likely go for the Soul Cleave, removing the vulnerable from the Mistwave.
But in the process,
By
giving
killing
it ephemeral.
Yeah, but we get 2.
We do get to. I think.
And
Luna-
a flip Lunaya. Flip Lunaya. A flip Nidalee, I mean. Which has Overwhelm and will give us the. Oh god, I don't know what's it called. But the 0 mana deal 4.
Yes. So, the most disastrous thing would have been if Synergy used the Explorer's Blunder and we could Soul Cleave afterwards, but he's keeping that.
Yeah.
And now we actually go for the Soul Cleave. We are leveling Nidalee and we are getting.
And this let's like this gives Lunaya 3 Mistwaves with 7 attack. One of those will most likely die to the Pokey Stick, but it's still a hefty amount of damage. And yeah, Sunji will once again lose his board, and let me count. He probably has to trade. No, he can block the. Can he?
Oh, this
No, he
looks
can't.
like lethal with the
I-
Nidalee Spear.
Yeah, true. We have the spear as
Especially-
well. Does the spear deal overwhelm damage? No, right?
It does not deal overwhelm damage, but we won't be able to develop another unit.
True. Because Synergy has to trade in the Gnar nearly gets to attack. The GGs are coming through. Nearly generates the spear, and this means we have a tight score, 1 each. And I will play the spear here and claim victory to tie the score. It's 1-1. It's once again how I said. Fearsomes will abuse the fact that Bandle City lacks the fearsome blockers. And therefore we are set up for the final game of this opening match, being Bandle Tree into Champion Pile Ionia SI.
Yes.
And now it's like the point. You know, of course, the same thing could happen again. But we said earlier that it might not happen too consistently because the Bandle Tree still has control tools. We will see about that in this third game. And I see the Ari. I see a Hecarim. And we'll see. On the other hand, the hand of Synergy looks pretty good. We have the Nora, we have the Doping Telescope, which is a fearsome blocker. We have Conch, who gives us good spells. We have Bandle City Mayor, which is Mayor. I don't think there's much explanation needed there. On the other hand, Luna seems to be curving, and Synergy found... can they hear us during the transition?
Yes.
Okay. Synergy found Bandle Tree, but as we also said earlier, it is not the primary win condition of the deck. So we will see, and Synergy kind of in a misery, having Scorched Earth and Ravenous Flock, but no pinks.
we might get those pings later. We do have Nora. That is something which can generate us fearsome blockers, which is always very valuable. We also
Yes,
have
indeed.
low ping, which can give us more fearsome blockers, maybe being a fearsome blocker itself.
Let's see what it generates. There are no fearsome blockers.
But we do
Less
have the
Concealing.
Equinox.
Silencing a follower is pretty good. You should switch back.
Yes. Wait. Now we have it.
Great. Yeah, so the silence can come in handy. We will see. Yeah, this is the Ionia version. So yeah, it will most likely disable a Mistwraith. I think that is the best target.
Although we have seen
really can go for
Soulcleave being used before, and Soulcleave can be a really prominent answer to this silence. Just removing
That is true.
the silence
That is true.
Mistwraith, giving us 2 more in the process.
Yeah.
And ooh, this is unfortunate.
This is highly unfortunate. Synergy's hand really lacking. What it takes in banditry might lose in a very, very awkward manner here.
I think we probably just take this, even though it looks miserable. But I don't think we want to trade this sloping telescope into something not fearsome.
But we have to, don't we?
I mean,
Because
3 HP
like
is
if we drop
but...
down on 3 HP, we are dead to anything.
Nah, but being dead to anything and having fearsome blockers might be better than not having the fearsome blockers. But let's see what he decides to do.
I don't know about that. What I do know is that Synergy drops to 5 HP on turn 4. Which is definitely not the spot he wants to find himself in. And really has to hope for this upcoming top deck. Oh, 2 portals.
Oh, and we get a Mistwraith, but
He
our
gets the
Mistwraith are kinda not as
Amazing.
strong.
Yeah, kind of know what he wants, but the Mischief is funny, and he gets 1 fearsome blocker at least. Actually, in like last rotation, I played Nora. I think it was the Wings Giving, and I played into Mistwraiths, and Nora generated 2 Mistwraiths, and then I had fearsome blockers.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because Nora generated 2. That was funny. But I tend to talk too much about my ladder experiences instead of focusing on the game. So let's get back to their synergy here. Trying to develop boards somehow to withstand
I mean,
the
it
upcoming attack.
doesn't look too bad. We do have 1 fearsome blocker. We can get a portal with... Ooh, that's misery.
Yeah, the hacker might be game deciding.
I mean, I think we are even losing to the open attack because we only have 1 fearsome blocker. We have not drawn anyone.
Yeah, but considering that Lunaya has 3 1 HP units, I don't think she wants to open. Never mind. I would, knowing Synergy's deck, I would prefer to take it slow. I would look into the deck and see if there's a punish for developing the Hecarim here, but I don't think so.
I don't think either.
So yeah, I think we just overwrite something here and play the Hecarim.
One punish would be that you most of the time need 2 instances, 2 actions to actually use your spells in this deck, because
Yes,
Flock
correct.
and Scorched Earth both need wounded targets.
Yep. And the Mark of the Isles, is also pretty threatening. 1 mana burst +2/+2 on the cost of Ephemeral is still very good.
And we are not even going for the summons from Hecarim, it looks like.
I mean, going for the summons would be turbo in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we could maybe drop like the one drop instead, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter, no. Yeah. Synergy, no pings, no nothing. Has to accept this attack, and therefore wins the match, the opening match of the Aphrodite Alpha League knockout stage, and claims the spot in the finals. He's done for today. One match, that's all. And we will see Lunaya again in the upcoming match, facing off Vendorti. We have seen it somewhere. Vendorti could win his game against Rivash 2-0, and will now face Lunaya in the next one. But beforehand, we will go into a short break. Don't go anywhere, and we will see you there.
See you.
And there we are again. Welcome back after a very intense first match where Lunaya took the 2-1 win, not Synergy. That was my bad on the end. We are now off to see the loser of the recent match, Synergy, facing off against Van Doherty, who could win 2-0 against Rivage. And first of all, I would very quickly like to talk about Lunaya's lineup again. Because Luna's strategy for this season was to leave everything unbanned for the finals, which is something no one else really did previously. And she really relies on a lot of one-offs, and this time once again played 3 fearsome piles and only playing 2 champions across 3 decks 2 or more times, which is something I doubted at first, but it seems like it turned out really, really well.
It has secured a very good spot in this tournament until now, playing the fearsomes. And this fearsome deck seems to be performing quite well.
Which makes me scared. Because I'm not really up for another Misdrave meta. The last weeks were more than enough in my opinion. But let's move ahead and focus, or like let's take a look at what is at stake, because Lunaya did advance to the finals now, but what is she really competing for? You might ask yourself. We have a prize pool of 200 euros that will be distributed next week in the finals. You can see right here we have a 160 euro prize pool provided by the entry fees. In addition to that, 40 euros by us. And the first place can take home 80 euros. And up to the 5th place, so even someone in the elimination round that gets eliminated today can still win some money. These are the stakes, and yeah, if we take another look at the bracket, we see the match right now that we will watch Synergy versus Van Doherty, but also considering the other results, everyone else had or has won 2-0. So far, Newman got eliminated. Newman was already there in the first season, getting first place in the groups. I remember that. And only 4th in the end.
Indeed.
Meanwhile, Midgappa lost his game. Vat won with Evelyn Guerin. I just, I want to put
maybe
that
it's
on.
got banned.
But why would you ban Evelyn Guerin?
I mean,
Let's be for real.
Players tend to ban decks they don't understand. That's
Okay. Yeah, that is true. And with Synergy versus Van Doherty, we have 2 players here that have quite a different history in the Aphrodite League. Van Doherty being here for every single season, claiming either 1st or 2nd place, while Synergy is completely new. And I would like to take a look at what it means to be a veteran in the Aphrodite League and see Van Doherty's record over the course of the last 3 seasons. Because he played a lot, he always qualified for finals, and has, I believe, after Lunaya, the 2nd highest win rate. Yeah, that's right. We can see the results for Winter Dawn. Here you can access those statistics by the Aphrodite League Master Sheet, which is available through the Discord. And then we can see Van Doherty, 18 matches won, 9 lost, 66% win rate, and won the first season, the Winter Dawn. In the Winter Dusk, Lunaya was successful. And yeah, I'm very curious to find out who will win it this time, but everything's open. Of course, we don't even know 3 of the upcoming finalists. We do know Synergy's decks by now, but what we don't know are the decks of Van Doherty, which we can now take a look at. He is not playing something as crazy. as Naya's bringing, and the first deck really proves that point. It is Jenna Nyla. Welcome back.
Welcome back. And we see a very similar list to the list we have seen before. This seems to be resonating with players running Zornite Urchin, Rummage, Stress Testing, and I can definitely see those cards being fairly good in this
Yes,
Jenna Nyla list.
definitely. I talked about the Zonite Ocean in the last game. We didn't get to see the stress testing or the suit up. The Rune Drex did a well job there, but I believe there might
The Rune Tricks kinda overkilled one Mistwave by
yeah, kind of.
by like 10 damage.
Yeah, I mean, it could have killed an Udyr, but whatever. Yeah, I hope we get to see the stress testing because I didn't face the deck with the tech yet, but I think it's interesting. But there's not much to say about Jenna Nyla. We had this talk more than enough, so let's move on to the second deck. And I kind of know that deck also from somewhere. It is not an exact copy of the list that Synergy is playing. Synergy plays one Soul Harvest instead of and yeah, that's the difference. And like the box is missing there, and so they are playing basically the same list. So
And Synergy was also playing the Janna Nyla, so we are seeing two very
True.
similar lineups also facing each other today in this
most likely, yeah,
match.
facing each other in a game. So the only real difference maker is the third deck, which is the only Fiora we have today. Fiora Udyr seems pretty mid-rangey. We have Omenhawk, Broadwing, Snowdog. We have Badgerbeer. It is such a standard Demacia Freljord list, except for the Fiora and maybe the Golden Aegis.
So
do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think it will just do what it always does, be a beat stick and beat everything up?
that's I think it's pretty volatile because I think it has a good matchup into the Annie Gwen.
Makes
But
sense.
a bad matchup into the
Bandletree.
Bandletree deck. So we will see how it performs, and it will probably depend on the deck it's playing against.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping for mirrors. I like to see the results of the mirror matches.
Oh yes, mirrors are always
And
fun.
especially on the Annie Gwen, which we which I'm not entirely familiar with, would be very insightful to see two very skilled players facing each other on the decks. And let's take a look at both lineups again and guess for bans, or I guess for bans because you already have them. So last time I was lucky enough to get one ban right, and let me think. So, I would assume Vendorti bans the Jenna Nyla because I mean the any Gwen mirror is obviously a coin flip, just as the Jenna Nyla. Any Gwen mirror is a coin flip, just as the Jenna Nyla is.
I mean, there are no coin flips in this skilled competition here. We are always
Yeah.
always outplaying. But yes, you are kind of correct.
On if we consider the statistics, would be a coin flip, and I just think considering all the other matchups, Vendorti could be in the General. On the other hand, Demacia Freljord was previously always a very strong into General. So actually, let me change that to any Gwen ban. So Vendorti bans any Gwen, and Synergy. I think it's the Demacia Freljord. It's just too stupid. It's just too good. I know.
You say the Master Failure is too good.
I mean, into those decks.
I can see the
it-
mid-range player talking.
Yeah. Perhaps, chance. But yeah, I just see it running over Jenna Nyla. I see it running over any Gwen, and I can see it having a pretty good chance of the Bandle Tree still. So those are my bans, and you will tell me now that I'm wrong.
I will tell you that you are partially
Yeah.
wrong,
Okay.
but you were right on the any Gwen. I'm pretty sure Jenna Nyla is a bit more scary than Udyr Fiora for those decks, but
I cannot judge it because I never played any Gwen. I never played the Bandle Tree, so this locks me out of 50% of the decks here. So I just kind of had to guess, but good to know. And so now, once again, I ask you, we have the bans, and you may start this time. How do you think this will play out?
I think Synergy has the upper hand here. We have two decks that should be able to beat the any Gwen with Janna Nyla and Gnar Nora, the Bandle Tree deck, because they just have more value, more inherent value than this removal pile. Although this Janna Nyla version is a bit faster, so he has to be careful not to run out of value, and Janna dies pretty fast in this matchup. But I would assume that Synergy is winning. And Udyr Fiora is probably winning against Janna Nyla, but losing against Gnar Nora. So I expect Synergy to win with 2-1, or I would probably say 2-1, because Vendorti will get a win with Udyr, I would say.
I think I agree. Once again, the mid-range player being very confident about the Master Furrier bonk. I think he can take a game with that. Overall, I think the lineup of Synergy is still better. So yeah, we once again agree to one Synergy. I think that was our guess for the last match as well, where we had Lunaya winning 2-1. So I am curious to see. And we have game one of the second match of the Aphrodite Alpha League knockout stage. It is the Master Failure Fiora Udyr facing Jenna Nyla. This is at least from like somehow the concept of the decks, something we already know from the last rotation, where Udyr had Morgana as a way better partner than Fiora. But it should still be favored for Vendorti in this case, I believe. What do you think?
I also took a look at an Udyr deck list recently, because I was.
Oh yeah, you were playing with some Noxus, right?
No. Yes, that is well, but I was talking about I was preparing with Stan for the Aegis tournament and looked at an Udyr list, and I have seen that we don't have the spell anymore that gives the suppression, the 2 mana give plus 2 health and suppression, which was always a pretty valuable card for.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, especially with the 4-drop on board, it really provides, like into more control decks, a layer of safety, right?
Indeed.
And now we actually see the hand of the Gen deck, by the way. And I am confused. I know it's the playback. It's the playback.
Now we have the decision if we want to use Troll Chant or maybe the 1+1+1 buff spell, but we decide not to use anything, and we will be able to clear this board with a good Ram stance.
Ooh, that Saurian is big. Can you check? I think it was +3/+3 if I saw it correctly. So it should be at 8/7.
It's
Yeah.
8/7, yes.
That is huge. We do not get the draw as of right now because we do not. We just lost our units with a subtype
Yes.
in the previous trade. Venoji couldn't know about this because he only top decked the Saurian right now. But still, an 8/7 overwhelm unit is still a pretty big threat to deal with, especially with Jananaida, who is sometimes struggling with dealing with those big threats. That's why Udyr is so strong into it in the first place.
Indeed. And now we see a rally being able to be paired with that, so I would probably assume we just skip the draw here. Yes.
Yeah.
And
The Howling Gale in Sunji's hands is is looking pretty nicely, and he can play an Urchin to buff the damage for one more, but
we
killing
won't
it...
be able to kill this thing this turn.
Yeah.
And after
Yeah.
that, it might get pretty hard. We do have 2 pump spells on the end.
Yep. That Saurian looks to take the game. I will call it now already. Or
I
at least
think
deal
it's
significant damage.
Kinda scary because but we only have played 2 cards, right? We have played the Cloudwinder and the Urchin, so it's just 4 damage on the Gale. On 5 damage, it would be able to kill this Saurian this turn if Vendorti decides to block.
Yes, I'm thinking right now, is there any way... I mean, there could be... Do we still play Gotcha? No, right? It got rotated.
No. We are not playing Gotcha.
There is Sudap, but that doesn't do too much either. Yeah. So the Saurian is pretty safe. Especially considering that Vendorti could opt into giving it region.
Oh, and we are also not attacking. I guess that's fair.
Yeah. Oh, and another Troll Chant. Another Troll Chant.
So,
7 mana. That means Vendorti can give the region now and still have the mana open for Troll Chant. He instead goes for the +2/+2, which is fair. Would probably not be my line, but I think he, with a total of 6 health buff in hand and a barrier, it is a fair line.
yes. We probably have to use this Troll Chant here, even though it does not look too necessary at this point. We see the Howling Gale in hand, and we know that Troll Chant will get less value if we don't use it.
Although Vendorti doesn't see the Howling Gale, but I think because the +2 buff here actually heals the Saurian too. This is, yeah, something you can go for. And Rune Drake's trigger deals 4. Did I see that correctly?
Yes. It deals 4 as far as I've seen it, yes.
So down to 4 HP. Nyla getting played. And instead of dealing with the Saurian, Sunji seems to be looking to just take the game.
It looks like that. We do have Gentleman's Duel.
Oh, if that would have came a bit earlier, that would have been so strong.
So we can potentially block 4 with the Troll Chant. And if we Gentleman's...
Yeah, I think that's the only line he really has here.
I mean, we basically need to stay under Mystic Shot range, and at the same time we need our Saurian to stay under Mystic Shot range, otherwise we are losing.
Yeah.
So
It's
this
also,
is the dilemma.
Vendorti has to play around Eye of the Storm as well.
And this
which
is not happening here.
That was too greedy. When Doherty played for the rally
Yes,
and just yeah.
but
It's
there
only
was no
only
line
reason.
that wins Vendorti the game here because he's always either losing Saurian or
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
or the game.
And yeah, I believed in the mid range, but the mid range lost, and now I am heavily disappointed.
Heavily
So
disappointed.
we have Zen and Nyla winning a game, proving that like just how strong of a deck it is, and Synergy now has to win twice. Only has to win once in 2 games with Bandle City. I know that from somewhere. I have a déjà vu. He was in this exact same spot in the last match, taking the first game with Jen and Nyla, and then, yeah, struggling with Bandle 3 deck. Let's see how it turns out in this game. Previously, when we talked about the decks, about the lineup, we concluded that the Bandle tree should have a rather good time into the Udyr, but it's not entirely a free win, right?
That would be my assumption. We do have Scorched Earth in hand, which will be very handy at dealing with Udyr. But we do have the same spot we were in last time, where we don't have the Pokey Stick to back up our removal. At least not yet.
Yep. From both sides, we see pretty natural development. Vendorti not having the Yudulski hurts a bit, but it is not the end of the world. We'll probably now develop the Broadwing, which is buffed by 2. And can comfortably go into the Berserker, into Udyr curve, while still maintaining enough mana to have the combo tricks ready. So Vendorti is really set up well for the next turns. And on the other hand, Synergy also seems to have a pretty good hand. Has the Conch, has another Explorer. The Grounded Slug is a nice deadline, and Scorched Earth does so much against Udyr.
I'm kinda
So
surprised that we attacked with Timo here, but I assume it was an accident, forgetting that at least from the amount of emotes
yeah, he
changed
forgot.
here.
He forgot. Yeah, that could be. Vendorti drawing into another bell. So I mean, what he could do next turn. I mean, what he could do this turn is buffing a unit, generating a stand swap, and reducing it to 0. And next turn for Udyr being able to instantly play one of the stand swaps without having the risk of. I mean, no, he does have the risk. Don't
I
did
assume
not say
we
anything.
don't want to redo stand swaps here. We just want to get the full value and just get more of them instead of using the
That
mana.
is a consideration. Now, do we play Udyr or Saurian? We do get the draw from the Saurian, but Udyr is Udyr.
Udyr is Udyr, but I think it doesn't matter too much here. But oh, we do lose the Omen Hawk though. This is, by the way, attacking with Timo was actually pretty good, because now we are able to get a hit in with Nora potentially. Also, we don't have any birds anymore for the Saurian draw. So the Timo attack actually did a lot there for Synergy.
Yeah, makes sense. Vendorti drawing into another Udyr, which is rarely something you want. I mean, considering the Scorched Earth, you could argue.
I
that
mean,
the
second
placement
Udyr
Udyr is nice.
will be useful at some point, yeah.
At some point, yeah. But just in my experience, in most games, you keep your Udyr.
Yes, and
right.
the Udyr champ spell isn't particularly useful.
Good.
Oh.
Indeed.
An unexpected error.
Occurred. We have technical issues, but I will
I guess we will
continue
be
this.
back soon.
Yeah. So I will try to to update a bit here. Minority playing another stand swap, now having region on the Broadwing, and yeah, that's the game stage. Guys are looking at each other and attack coming through. Bro. Oh no, Van Doherty actually does not attack. Lets all his units heal to full. Udyr didn't take any damage yet, so his entire board is protected from Scorched Earth. Meanwhile, Synergy draws into his Bandle tree, which might be good. We have screen again.
Yes,
And
we do.
earlier, I don't know if it was still on screen, but Conch generated the 1-mana stun, which is very good into Udyr.
Oh yes, I see. And we respect the disintegrate not attacking with. Also, that is probably more about respecting flock. And we do see that Bandle tree coming down. And now when Doughty is on a timer.
Yep. Of course, Bandle tree not primarily the best card in the matchup, but considering the stun and the stall that Bandle City can provide, putting on a timer might be very, very good.
It
So,
might
the
be.
first
We will see.
generation. Huh? Sorry?
We will see, it might be, but the Bandle tree is pretty slow.
Yes. I mean, it hasn't been a viable win condition in literally years for a reason. Not even in Eternal making any crazy crazy decks. We'll see. Maybe Synergy can finally win a game with the Bandle tree this time, or if it will be once more his demise.
I
For
think
now,
this
he can
one,
successfully stall the game a bit by stunning the Udyr, and another unexpected error occurred. Wonderful. I will once again try to update the game state as we speak. Now, Van Doherty has a full board with Overwhelms, including a Broadwing and a Saurian and 2 Berserkers. And yeah, Synergy is actively overriding units, playing the Conch in this case, trying to fish for a spell that might keep him alive. He found one to grow the health of one unit to 5 HP. By the way, Arma, please tell me when you are
yes,
back. Synergy drops on 3 HP after getting attacked by 4 Overwhelm units. The Udyr is still stunned, if you remember. Banditry is on 7 out of 10. And only missing Shurima. Oh, hold on. Regions. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But it only misses Shurima and one other region that is not coming to my mind right now. Hold on. Piltover. Yeah. Shurima and Piltover is missing. And Nora is actually, with the portals, doing a very good job at providing the battle tree with necessary units. Because they can come from any regions, right? And Synergy is right now at 8, has a Shurima unit in hand. That means he gets the last remaining unit next turn. And considering that Doherty didn't draw an Explorer yet, this might end up as a banditry win if Synergy is able to withstand the upcoming attack of 5 overwhelm units on 3 HP, which is
This will
not
be
easy at
hard.
all.
We also have Wincon this turn with stance generation into Ram stance, which will deal
Uh,
3 to everything, including Synergy's
True,
Nexus.
true. You are so very right on that. I missed that. Was too focused on describing every single detail of the game state. But yeah, you are right. Vendorti can take the game in on this very turn. Sunji now being tapped out, and yep, Vendorti, can just tank this attack.
He could even block this attack because
It's not like he has to care, right? The only thing he
Indeed.
shouldn't block with are the berserkers.
I mean, he could block with the berserkers because Synergy doesn't even have enough actions
Yeah.
to.
True. Once again, we're talking about actions on Noxus control, which are the crucial resource that the deck is dealing with. You are once again right. So Vendorti decides to full block, except elusive, which he can't block due to elusive keyword. Okay, never mind. He took it back. Resolve, and Vendorti only has to play one more card to win the game, and he will hopefully do as such. Yep. Oh, no. Come on. Yeah, thank you. And this means as soon as Synergy accepts this action, the match, or like the game score, will once again be tied. And it will be a 1-1, in which then Doherty or Synergy
We went
will...
for the overwhelm stance. That's kind of funny.
Oh.
But probably won't matter at this point.
Yeah.
We're even surviving the block.
Actually, did you know that the rules state that you are not allowed to stall the game in such a case? I'm just saying.
I don't think.
I mean, he didn't stall it for too long. But it doesn't change anything about what I said previously. There is a tight score, 1 each, and the next game will decide who will go to the finals and who will, have to go for another one. We already know the opponent. By the way, it will be Rivash, who is waiting to take on the loser of the upcoming game, Synergy vs Vendorti. And for the first time today, I think we see any Gwen in action.
We see any Gwen indeed. Until now, my belief in this banditry deck was kinda disappointed. I would have.
I mean, he's 0-3 so far. All his losses were with the banditry. He, as I said earlier, in both matches, he won game 1 with Jenna Nyla, and versus Lunaria, he then lost twice against with the banditry, and now he lost once with the banditry, looking to get another fate this time. But let's look into the game. The banditry in hand of Synergy, also the Nora, which will most likely be played, I believe. No, he opts for the 2-drop, which is also fine. The Explorer in hand is very nice for the landmark that Vendorti just top decked. And I believe there is a good chance that he will just play the landmark and this will be answered by the Pioneer.
In this matchup, there's also the option not to play this landmark and to wait until you actually have like 11 spells.
Yeah, but Synergy goes for an early banditry here.
And we go for early banditry versus early Ravenbloom.
I mean, early is relative. You want to play it on turn 1. He played it on turn 3.
I mean, comparatively early compared to like dropping it when it leveled. when it's leveled.
Yeah, true. That's also a strategy. Considering that both players have Scorched Earth in their deck, the landmark strategy has its flaws, but we will see. Gwen now attacking. Gwen, by the way, a wonderful champion design-wise. Being suitable for combo and control.
You mean attack do damage?
I love attack do damage. And healing.
Truly
Healing is also
wonderful.
nice. Nevertheless, there's a second landmark for Vendorti.
Which will be very important since we already see 2 landmark removal.
Yep. He will drop it, but how much will it matter? Also, do you think we dropped the Nora this turn?
I'm not sure what we would be waiting for with that Nora. The problem with Nora is that we have like one premium answer with the Glare. But everything else is it's kinda not avoidable for Nora to be killed. You don't have any protection. And I'm pretty sure you don't want to attack here, to be honest, because the only thing you are doing is... I mean, never mind, you can't block with Gwen. That's just stupid from my side. You just can't.
You can't. Synergy getting a bit unlucky with the draws here. Like the units from Banditry, a 6-drop and 8-drop. Both more on the expensive side, not really something you want to draw.
Although,
Gwen flipping.
Like value-wise, we can use them at a later point, and we do have some cheap units to play until then. So they are not... We are not winning this game. I mean, we can win this game by Banditry as well. But Synergy probably assumes that this Banditry will get shot at some point. And until then it will have generated him a juicy amount of value.
Yeah, that's true, but I still think he would prefer to have a reasonable chance to win the game through it. It's always nice to have a win on board.
Of course.
And Synergy is looking to pop the landmark before it gets destructed. And it would be funny if the spell would just transition to the other landmark, moving in its place now, but it doesn't. And therefore, Vendorti gets his first Tubok and will get another one very soon.
And the we won't get any Tyborgs this game.
No Tubok. That's true. I missed that. I was focused on Vendorti finally achieving his goal after committing 4 cards to the stack. But yeah, the Tubok just being discarded by Early Bird. Vendorti being on 3 Gwens. Gwen is another champion like Udyr. You don't really wanna draw her a lot. She attacks, but never, like, rarely dies really. And yeah, the gem spell is really not that good. Actually, I'm not quite sure anymore how Tubok works. Would Tubok buff the damage from Threaten Needle?
Yes, I think it would buff from every instance. I'm not like entirely sure. Oh, you mean Threaten Needle? I don't know. I was thinking about the Gwen attack.
I was talking about the Gwen spell.
The Gwen spell. I mean, we can look at wording,
yeah,
and I don't know.
Okay, so it says kill an ally to do damage equal to its power to an enemy, and Tubok says all of your spells and skills deal 1 extra damage. So I would assume it works like that. So it would, but then it technically would also buff Atrocity. Maybe we'll see, but definitely not in this match because yeah, Vendorti kind of lost 2 Tuboks already.
I would probably pull Gwen here just because we have the.
Yeah, I agree. Putting Gwen
and there's
into...
no protection on the side of Vendorti. But this
but I'm so sorry for Vendorti passing on 8 mana. really must hurt. He draws Scorched for the Vandal Tree, which is very nice, considering Vandal Tree's on 7, and
But to be fair, the banditry has already won synergy this game.
yeah, like with the amount of units generated, I can only agree with you on that. Oh, 9. Now he has to go for it. He cannot take the risk.
I mean, he can wait for him to play
I mean,
one more
true.
unit and
It
let
is
him
round start.
override.
It is round start. To be honest, I've only seen the banditry win animation like very few times.
That
So,
means you are lucky
you
and
know,
you haven't.
I'm kind of hoping that we get to see it, but this game doesn't look like we will see another match from Synergy. At least so far.
No, it does not look like that.
Yep. Keep in mind, the Shurima unit will spawn another Sand Soldier. Synergy is considering that and keeps the Mayor in the bag. So Vendorti will now take 12 damage, which will, for the first time in this match, put Synergy at a health advantage. Which, I mean, I do have to add, HP doesn't tell a lot about the game itself, but yeah, just as a fun fact in here, yeah, that's why we wanted to grab Gwen earlier. There is the consideration to play Thread the Needle before we play the second Gwen.
Maybe, but I don't think
It is
anything we are
a
doing
consideration.
I probably would have let that Gwen live, just because we can always kill her on attack. And this means she is getting at least 2 damage in with her skill if she attacks. But we give him the option to replay Gwen. But as I said, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter indeed. Majority can go for a bit of heal here, but it won't do much. The board of Synergy is just overwhelming. And we'll probably put a quick end. To that, and yeah, board is full. Units getting generated. In hand,
And maybe we see
yeah.
an 8 drop being dropped, maybe. I mean, we can also see just nothing here. Probably just nothing.
No, yeah, like when Dorothy's sand doesn't give him a lot of room for
Could we actually hit the
Counterplay.
allegiance? Oh, we could. I think we could hit the allegiance. Or are we running the Noxus Explorers main deck? I'm not sure.
Sorry, what are you talking about?
I'm thinking about if we can hit the allegiance with that fleeting Shurima card. I'm not sure if we're running Shuriman cars in this deck.
No, I believe it's Bandal Noxus, but
I mean,
don't think
bandit units are multi-region sometimes.
oh, yeah, true. But it doesn't matter. The match is over, and Synergy could now finally win a game with the Bandle Tree. He had 4 games with it, and now in his 4th run, he got it finally, and therefore secures a spot in the finals next week. We will see him again there. And Van Doherty, who was on the blink to take this spot that Synergy just took, will have to face Rivage, the winner of the last game, in order to get their Rivage winning 2-0 versus Kaizen, who in the first 2 seasons each went 6-0 from 3rd place, and he was in the same spot before, won the first match 2-0, but for the first time he lost a match, or he lost the game entirely in a triangle bracket. And now has to face Watt, who once again 1-2-0 with Evelyn Garen. Um, yeah, he will face him. We will start to look at Vendoche Rivash after a short 5-minute break. So see you there and stay tuned for that matchup.
Oh, see you soon. Bye.
There we are. Welcome. We are halfway through. We've already seen 2 matches of the Triangle Bracket of today. We have 2 finalists settled, being Vendorti, being Lunaya and Synergy. Force of habit, my bad.
Vendorti
yeah.
always winning.
Lunaya and Synergy being qualified for the Aphrodite Alpha League finals next week. Vendorti has a chance to qualify in the upcoming match. Interestingly enough, we have the both first places in seed 1 and 2 in the next week, because also double elimination is seeded. And the 2 second places, Rivash and Vendorti, are facing off against each other. We can see they already played into each other at the start of the day, and there Vendorti could take a 2-0 victory. So, Armageddon, could you tell us a bit more about the lineups that we see here from both? And
the lineup from so we have already seen the lineup from Vendorti, so I
Right.
will take a closer look at Rivash's lineup. So I will see the decks. We are looking at Nico Garen, which is
mid-range.
mid-range. Let's say it's not according to my taste of decks usually, but there are decks for everyone, and Nico Garen is certainly a strong deck. We do have the Demacian interaction spell with single combat and form up, which are both pretty strong. We do have Radius, which are well combined with our big board that we will be able to build. We don't have access to Warden, which is the main reason people are running Freljord in this list usually, or not usually, but a lot of the time. And you can actually get some Demacian interaction spells with the 6-drop bird that's in the region, Nico region. But here we opted into Demacia to have those powerful Demacia spells already in our deck, to have it very consistently. Also, Garen is kinda good, especially since he got changed to have a board-wide buff, at least for 1 turn, which will matter a lot in this deck, since we will be able to pump out a lot of units.
Yeah. And I believe there are also a lot of thresholds. If you consider Jen and Nyla, for example, a lot of health thresholds that you need to come above. And Garen really helps there. I liked the 4-drop, the Lizard, in this deck a lot, and I'm quite sad to see it only as a one-off. But I think we've heard enough about this deck now, so we can move to another very mid-rangey deck that surely everyone loves to see again. It is Poro King. In combination with Shurima, summoning, adding a bit of consistency, and the Quicksand. What do you think is the purpose of Quicksand? Like, what are we targeting with it?
I mean, fearsomes, of course, are a big and good target for Quicksand. We are also looking at potentially some Recorrect style Overwhelm decks, which could be decent right now. Also elusives maybe, but I haven't seen a lot of elusives.
I think there's one deck that Lava talked about, Ionia SI.
Maybe. I'm a bit
But I don't
afraid
think it's
that might be good. And I don't want it to be good, to be honest. But I think we will find enough targets for Quicksand, and Poros. In Poros, it's definitely good just to stay alive for a bit longer and have more time to just outvalue your opponent.
Yep. That is true.
In general, we are looking at a very value-heavy deck with triple Aurora Borealis, which is not what you usually see in Poros. We do run triple Sunborn summoning as well, so we have like insane amounts of value in this list.
Indeed.
And I think Poro decks opted out of that, at least last time they were
Back
played.
back then, yeah, I remember. We'll see how it performs. I also didn't play into Poros yet, although I think the Poro King is quite exciting. And the third deck is Gnar Nidalee. Now we can come back to lava again because we have a Wingsgiving deck. Yay! Although it looks a lot like a Value of Imitation deck, but there is no Value of Imitation. Although it is standard, if I remember correctly.
Value of Imitation is standard indeed. And
Now, what might be the reason to not play it in such a deck? Because it is it is nearly transformed.
the main
Heavy deck.
reason is probably the competitive 3 mana slot, because we are already bringing Wingsgiving, Chief Nakotak, and Changelings, so we don't have a lot of space to play something at 3 mana. So the value of Imitation was probably one free drop too many for Rivage.
Yeah, I can see that. Overall,
this deck will be pretty strong into the removal piles because we are running 1 Rite of Negation and 3 Avenging Vastayas, and we will also be able to create an insane amount of threats with Chief Nakotak needing to be removed, with Pariofund needing to be removed, Big Game Tycoon needs to be removed, Gnar, Nidalee. They are all presenting individual threats, and especially if we are looking at Vendorti's lineup running Noxus control decks, this I assume we won't get to see this Gnar Nidalee being played. I'm pretty sure.
I would agree with you. Looking at the lineups, the Gnar Nidalee seems to be a no-brainer ban. Which is like more tricky is I believe the Vendorti lineup. I kind of do believe in the Master Freyod again. On the other hand, it is Janna Nyla. Although Janna Nyla does struggle into exactly these kind of decks, right? Like very efficient units stat wise. A lot of buffs. So, and we already said that any Gwen will be struggling a lot into Rivage's lineup. So I think the only thing that can really match Rivage's deck is Fiora Udyr. And yeah, like those are my bans. Fiora Udyr and Gnar Nidalee, those are my predictions.
So
as not usual, much to say about it.
As usual, Fiora Udyr believer, but disappointed again. We do see.
See it.
You're always wrong on that.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm always right on the other one. Yeah, it's just my nature as a fellow midrange and enjoyer. Yeah, so we are back at predictions. And I believe Rivage could take this even 2-0 or 2-1. I don't think Vendorti can win this. And it's really up to how the matchup of like whatever Rivage is playing into Fiora Udyr is. But I would argue that both of Rivage's decks are favored into the Fiora Udyr with the Quicksand on the Shurima and just Nico Demacia being such a strong deck. Yeah, I believe this will be either a 2-0 or a 2-1. What do you think?
Oh, so sorry. I'm just looking at.
What do you think about how this game could turn out? Actually, a match is already starting and ongoing, I might add. With the first match being Fiora Udyr playing to the Poro King. Probably the most favorite matchup that Vendorti has across the matchup table.
Okay, so sorry, I was just we are starting with the game.
Let's
we
go.
here- Oh.
Let's go. Round 3 of the knockout stage here in the Spring Dawn season. And yeah, we are seeing Rivage facing off versus Vendorti. And I think
we have that. Okay. Sorry.
so. Oh, good. No Poro King so far for Rivage. Instead, Shu Aurea Borealis. Of course, Poros, but if you don't draw Poros with this deck, you have to be very unlucky. The Fiora that Vendorti has here is very happy about this early game Poros. Although the Quicksand can add a layer of protection here, the question is, do you want to use the Quicksand so early?
I mean, we are running free quicksand, and if we are killing the Poro with this, not a Poro, if we are surviving with a Poro, this could be very valuable since our Poros are much more valuable later on. But I assume we won't use quicksand just because we will be able to maybe remove barrier with Fiora Champ spell, not sure. But mainly because we will be able to remove Overwhelm from Udyr. And we want to use our mana efficiently for those Poro snacks. But this Fiora is gonna be a big threat.
I can see that, but it seems like Rivage disagrees. And will instead here go for the Poro snack. And then Doherty will set up Region Fiora. I think that makes the most sense after playing Berserker. I don't think we want to play the second, right?
I think maybe we want to just to create a with a stand swap we can create like 3 not fearsome overwhelm attackers. But if he sees Fiora as his win con, he should definitely give her region.
I really believe if you get a Fiora on 4 into the Poros, you should play her as a win con, and giving her region gives her the sustain she needs while fighting through all those important units.
The problem you will run into with Fiora is that that Fiora will get outgrown by those Poros, and at the point where you don't have enough attack to kill something with Fiora, it gets pretty hard because you always need 2 strike spells. You always tank the damage twice. And this will be
there's
hard.
a Poro King from above on the side of Rivage that makes the game a lot more comfortable for him. And Doherty can look to flip the Fiora in this turn. That's definitely a play. And I will Broadwing, maybe Explorer, maybe Berserker, we'll see about that. But I still believe with Strike Spell and Fiora there is a chance that Doherty can somehow take this game with the Fiora. It highly depends on the top decks too.
I will agree that definitely depends on the top decks, but until now I would give this win to Rivage. It looks very...
Until now, both players still have full boards, both players are almost full HP. But the Poro King is indeed quite a significant edge.
But Fiora is on level 2 unless we decide to use something here. I doubt we will use something.
Yeah, I mean Rivage could go for Quicksand instead of buffing the Poros, which I don't think is the correct play. But he could do that, and he could have his own reasoning, which I may not fully grasp. Of course, we have to stay fair. But yeah, this attack looks very favoring for Rivage. Especially considering the hand size, the value that is in it. There's a good chance. He can just outgrind the game, fewer levels. There's a strike spell in hand, but not too much more in addition to that. I believe Vendotti has to go for the strike this turn.
If he goes for the strike this turn, this Poro dies. We are at 3. And then it's getting pretty hard afterwards. We have 2 quicksands. Afterwards, indeed. We have 2 quicksands to remove Fiora's attack value. And we will have very big Poros coming up. And there's not much in terms of buff spells in Vendorti's hand.
That's true, that's true. What I was thinking about mainly is Vendorti going for Fiora on 3 in the last turn, and then I mean he always can draw the second Fiora, which will win him the game on the spot. And there's also Gold Leeches, which grants the barrier. So those would be the win conditions that Vendorti could have played for, but since he left the Fiora at 2 now, this is getting a lot more risky because the Poro King generates the special Poro Snacks, and one of them grants Challenger, the Espresso Snacks, and Rivage has them in hand, and this leaves Fiora quite vulnerable. At all stages, or Vendorti just waits for too long, lets the Poros grow until it's too late, so it is really not the best spot that Vendorti finds himself in here.
Oh, I like that. We are actually fattening Fiora here. We know that Vendorti has a limited amount of interaction. Worst case would be probably something like Troll Chant, which would still keep Poro King alive.
Yeah, in the Inner Beast, which, like, if we disregard Rivage's hand, Inner Beast would seem very good as a response, but there are 2 quicksands. That's just too much.
Yeah, 2 quicksands, 1 Poro Snack to buff this Poro King even more.
Yeah.
This Fiora, and we know Vendorti's hand, and this doesn't make it any better.
Yep.
Our Fiora is gone.
Vendorti with the back, with his back on the corner. Yeah, could look better. And Rivage now able to fill the whole board. Has the Poro Snakes in hand. Has another, what's it called? The impact one?
Special Snake. Oh, not Special Snakes. Pepper Snakes.
Pepper Snakes, true. And also another Aurea Borealis. Rivage is set up for success, and I don't think there's a lot that can still stop him. Of course, two Saurians on the side of Vendorti hurt a bit, but he can just happily trade it and replay Poros. He has the Poro King spell in hand. He could even go for the 5-drop, I forgot the name.
Oh yeah, Poro Sled.
Ah, yeah.
I mean, even one quicksand alone shuts down like any damage here. Heals us back up to 20 HP.
Yeah, that's true.
So at this point, there's basically no way we are losing with the Poros.
That is true.
Let's see.
Yeah, the attack coming through, as we already said. Rivage can just take this and replay everything. I got confused for a second because I wasn't sure where the porous stat comes from, but it was generated by Aurea Borealis earlier. I missed on that. And another Aurea Borealis being played and generating 2 more poros. Now there are 2 line. No, there is only 1 really good line. We play both, and then have a normal poro snack and a special snacks to.
Yes, the freezing
everything for
snack is
Super
probably the best snack in this matchup. Specifically,
Yeah.
we will be able
Definitely.
to shut down big mid-range threats, and to be honest, there are not even any big mid-range threats available anymore, which are threatening enough to do anything here.
And Vivash gets more and more and more value now generating. The Lonely Poro with the sled. The Lonely Poro, which is not lonely at all, he is with of his kind everywhere. And then Dorothy, just in order to survive, has to sacrifice 3 of his units, half of the board. If he wants to reasonably stay alive, he has to even commit the Saurian. And is left with basically nothing.
And now we will probably see, yes, the freezing snack.
Now there's the freeze. Rivage isn't in the position where he has to use it defensively anymore. Buffing the entire board for even more.
And Poro King still survives.
Poro King survives and will continue to generate more and more snacks, getting those poros to ridiculous amounts of damage. Oh, and tough region. Tough region is a really good combination of keywords.
Poro is not dying anytime soon.
Yep. And even if he is, look at this hand. We have more than enough. Another Lonely Poro in the hand of Rivage. There is an Udyr. There are 2 Berserkers, but guess what? The Quicksands are still there.
This is basically what we need on turn 5 in this matchup. One Udyr that starts scaling up, creating a big threat, but it would have been very hard to get through
like
2 Quicksands.
That's also true. And additionally, we don't have turn 5, we have turn 11. The game is decided by now. Rivage could even just say, okay, I take this. Will commit the power sled here, well knowing that no matter what Vendorty really plays, he can just answer it with his porous next. Or the quicksand now. That is also true. We'll need a porous snack to win the trade, and
yes.
Yeah, I believe Vendorty can figure out how this game will turn out. And yeah, surrender. That's what I was expecting. So Poros 1, which is not a signal we would like to send out to the world. Please keep the letter Poro free. Thank you.
Yes, I would approve of a Poro free letter. That's.
But moving on, the third deck of Rivage is Nico Garen, which I believe is an even stronger mid-range deck than the Poros. And let's see if he can prove this to be right in this second matchup. And there is Vendorty again with the Fuhrer. Udyr in the entry, when we talked about the banning, I said that I believe Fuhrer Udyr is weaker than the 2 mid-range decks that Rivage is playing. Until now, I seem to be correct. And yeah, let's look into next game.
Yes,
Rivage has an early advantage. Oh, mid-range into mid-range. That's a mirror I can talk about.
Yeah.
Look, they're playing units! Oh my god, they're playing more units.
We are looking at dog versus dog.
Yeah.
Actually, we are looking at 1 dog versus 2 dogs. Maybe we get Nico into transform into a 3rd dog. That's always a line.
Yeah. But for Rihanna, we can see a nice curve on the side of Vendorti. 3 for 5. Going for Stanswood Place on turn 6. The Better is not as important, so it is very fair that Vendorti now here goes for the trade here. I believe, yeah, there are 3 form-ups and 2 single combats, as well as 2 Relentless Pursuits as spells on Rivage's sides. That's it. 7 spells, nothing more. And now Rivage has to decide for a unit, and considering those, I think we take the Jordan. Yeah.
Yes, we did take the order. Just the most cheap unit here.
It's the cheapest unit, and also like we can fit it now while playing Yedutski and Nico next turn.
Although we might want to keep up mana just to threaten this form up. We
might.
We will have to see.
We'll see. Keep in mind that one of the Nikos is buffed by the Yedutski Snowdog from earlier. I'm not quite sure about the Garen, but I think it's a default Garen.
I'm pretty sure it's a default Garen. I can check.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So there really is a world where Rivage even refuses to attack here, or like develop an attack. Open attack, I can see.
I would probably the problem with.
Hold on. I think it might be Deck Hunter, but the Fae also is good. But I like the Deck Hunter here.
The funny thing is, if we are playing Deck Hunter, then from Vendorti's point of view, we spent like 3 minutes thinking about playing our 2-drop.
Yep, that's always the thing. That's why I try to always take another second when I'm playing my my units with this deck. At least my 2-drops. Yeah. Most of the time, it's quite obvious, and yeah, disguise is really important when playing Nico Demacia.
So in general, we want to keep our board here, because we will be able to develop Garen and the impact unit, and we don't have too much board refill in our deck. So attacking here pushes some damage, but it has the downside of trading off our board.
I agree with you 100%. That is why I pledged against develop into attack. Earlier, if we attack, we open. The Badger Beer here is pretty huge. I think that should be the answer. Into that, there's a 0-mana stance swap in Vendorti Sand that will be played. Both Berserker and Ulia are online and probably getting Region.
Yes.
And the game plan of Rivage in this case is just to keep as many units as possible for this turn, and then go for Garen, and you could also go for the Nico spell, which would copy the Garen and give another +1/+1 to the entire board, as well as providing another body for attacking.
Not giving Regen to Udia was very interesting, because normally I would assume you want to hit with Udia this turn, especially with that.
But it was Regen.
No, but we gave it to Jadulski.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah.
But now we have another option of giving Regen to Udia.
Yeah, that is true. The copy Garen play is not available anymore due to mana limitations, so I think it's just a Garen here. Nico should be on 4, and the Garen would be the 5th, because Bajabek came last turn.
Although here giving attack, maybe I would probably assume the +2/+2 stance here would also be pretty solid, because we can force good trades.
Yeah, in the mid-range matchup, stats sometimes matter way more than keywords, and this is one of those, although pretty rare cases. Generally, of course, the region, and often also the overwhelm is simply better than the +2/+2, which Vendorti also sees in this position.
And we kinda see why when Doughty didn't give Udyr regen. This Udyr is so big that that he doesn't even need regen to stay alive. At least not until now. We might give Udyr regen after this attack, where Udyr will generate
Because
even more
point is
stance
that-
swaps.
Yeah, because the point is that Udyr, until the very late game, needs to swing multiple times to win. But I mean, I guess it's fine to block with Udyr now and give him regen after that. That is a viable play.
We don't need to be scared of form up here. Unless Nico levels, and I don't think she does.
No, she doesn't. She goes on 5.
Since she only goes to 5, this attack doesn't do it too much in terms of winning the game.
Indeed. Vivage pushes for even more damage, but it is not too unlikely that is the last damage he could push for in this game. When Dorothy now has regeneration on the Udyr. The Udyr is huge and is looking to take the game with 14 attack overwhelm.
But if he doesn't take the game this turn, it could actually become really scary, since we have the impact unit at our hands on Rivar's side, and we can copy it with the Nico spell.
Yeah.
To get
True.
And we are only on 5 HP here, but this looks winnable.
It's not lethal yet.
Let's say.
Oh, it is lethal.
It looks fairly winnable, especially with that single combat in hand.
Yeah, single combat really makes a difference. That's 26 overwhelm damage. And the Badger Beer alone would be enough to, I mean, in combination with the cat, would be enough to hold this. Although Ram Stance would enter game in this case.
Yes.
But you seem to be right, the single combat is making a difference, and everything seems like we are going into the third game 3 in 3 matches. But the game is not over yet, of course.
And
let's see how this played out.
And this is this kind of matchup where your beloved Udyr deck has.
It's not beloved, okay? my beloved is Asia, and I stand by that. Hate me as much as you want, but midrange is cool. Combo is better.
Oh, okay, I see.
Sure, Grandma, let's go to bed. However, yeah, this is a devastating attack. When Dorothy dropping down, not dealing a single damage for the entire game, now sweeping in and looks to take the game in just one attack. Dealing 23 damage, there's no interaction Rivage has, or no reasonable interaction. And this sets us up for the third game. And where once again the winner will advance to the finals, while the other one has to take one more match, which will be the corner match of the knockout stage, and will face ABG Kaizen in said corner match, and we will have Garen Nico versus Annie Gwen. And I have one very straightforward prediction for that. Garen Nico will just run them over.
That's fairly reasonable to say.
As much as I would like for the Annie Gwen to show off, so I can learn some stuff, I don't believe it can. withstand the pure pressure that Garanico can provide. So, maybe we shall be corrected by Vendorti. Wouldn't be the first time that Vendorti pulls off some surprises, and he starts off with Annie and 2 landmarks.
We do have 2 landmarks taking down, and it's for sure an unusual opener, but not. I won't assume it's a winning opener. But we do have some scaling in here. If we do get...
Yeah, and also I think actually the Hand of Endority is one of the best he could have gotten. He has the jump blocker with the sentry, can set up somehow for a win condition with his landmarks, and he has healing. He has Gwen. Gwen can come in handy in the matchup, but gets pretty useless later on when the buffs come through. Overall, like, Vendorti, we said it already. Definitely not his best matchup of the day.
Definitely not.
And yeah.
We do see an insane amount of refill, and this Garen next turn looks...
Oh, and he top decks the Nico. This could be a flip. I think
you mean playing Nico this turn? This might be... Yes. This might...
That's a Nico flip on 4. Unless... okay, no.
We do
like
have some interaction in our any Gwen deck.
Damn! Who would have guessed the control deck has interaction, but I assume it will probably not be enough. Full swing is what I would pledge for.
Mid-range players full setting it. I see.
And yeah, like the Gwen can come down next turn. Venochi has to be aware of the form up, but in combination with the Vile Feast in hand, he can attack. He has exactly the mana for just that. Heal himself for 2 or 3.
I'm pretty sure Vendorti does not have to be scared of Rivage blocking, since there's always the threat of disintegrate, and you just don't trade the chance of your big unit dying to...
True. Oh, it's been quite some time since disintegrate was there, so I didn't consider it. And there we see my favorite mid-range unit, the Lizard. The 4/4, which in this case is buffed and will provide a lot of power. Not only has it a good stat line, 4 mana for Overwhelm, it also curses the opponent, forcing them to pay 3 mana every after every Nexus Strike, which scales up. And there's one thing you want to avoid, it is having 9 mana deal 3 in your hand.
At this point, we are at a fairly interesting spot, since we do have the Tibbers in hand, which will deal with 1 unit, stun another one. And then...
Rivage not really playing around it, which is interesting. The landmarks are popping. And this might be... what I... like the spot I was talking about earlier, when Dorothy has a pretty optimal hand for the matchup. I'm still not sure if he can close it, but Dorothy really plays it well, and to this point gets not as run over as we thought at first glance.
No, he's pretty good in this. He's still pretty good in this game, and we see this Flock is gonna be a premium answer for that already damaged Lizard.
Yeah.
And those Cyborgs coming in will do some serious work.
Yeah. Now let's think 10 hours. What 2 drop we play? And ooh,
I mean,
like might be
they
the
are
least.
all kind of bad. Probably the elite.
Yeah, they're all pretty bad. Goes for the portal.
Which has more health than the elite, doesn't die as easily.
Yep. But to be honest, I think Vendorti, if he wins, like Vendorti is only alive because of the Withering Whale earlier that denied the Nico flip on 4.
Yes.
And
Yes.
starting from there, it was a downfall for Rivash. I mean, the upside is if Vendorti takes this game, which seems more and more likely with every turn we go on. I get to cast another mid-range lineup, which I wouldn't complain about. But first we have to go there, or get there, of course. And Tuvok buffs the Gwen spell, which makes a lot of sense. Now, this should be... Oh, hold on! Okay, I did not know about this interaction. Gwen deals now damage exactly as like the amount power she has.
Yes, indeed.
That's a crazy buff.
Indeed, that will deal a lot of damage, especially since the Tyborg also increases the power of Gwen, which is usually not increased in this deck. And also does not matter normally because it only matters every
4 or
2
5
power increases.
Yeah. On the other hand, Rivash is looking to set up one attack when Dorothy's back on full health because of the Gwen. And yeah, Rivash really is in an awkward spot. Going for the attack now, which does not flip. Nico, question mark?
I think
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I haven't kept track on
Me neither.
the Nico flip.
I mean, we will find out as soon as Rivash finds the big blue button on his screen.
He definitely found the emote button on his
screen. But that is the wrong button. That is not the button we need in this scenario.
He seems severely disappointed at this point.
Yeah,
not
he seems
Nico
disappointed. The Nico is on 5. That is not enough, even with a flip. I think it would have been too close, and we've been agreeing so much how unfavored Vendorti is in this matchup. But it seems he might be able to take it in the end. Because after this attack, probably another Chibok comes down. And this attack...
This is already lethal just from Gwen and the Blade's Edge. We are looking at 9 damage. Not even considering overwhelm damage from the Tyborg.
That is crazy. Vendorti, once again, proving that he is an extraordinary player, proves that he can win even the most unfavored matchups, and therefore very, very well deserves his spot in the finals. He will play next week in against Synergy, and in the first round. So we are left with only one more match, who will be deciding, which will be deciding the 4th spot for the finals, which will be the opponent of Lunaya in the first match of the finals, and of course also the last member of the elimination bracket, because we are talking about the corner match, the probably most decisive match in the entire format, because the winner of this upcoming match still has the chances to win the league, as Vendorti did in the very first season, while the loser of this match could be eliminated in just 7 days. So there's a lot at stakes for this match, and we will look at it after a short break, and see you guys there. And
Yeah, see you.
Well,
Hello again.
hello again, everyone. We are back for the corner match in this knockout stage of the Aphrodite Alpha League, the very last game before we know all the finalists of this third season in the Spring Dawn. The corner match in which the winner could take it all, win the league, but the loser could be eliminated from it entirely. This is what is at stake, and I am looking forward for one last intense and famous match of this day. What about you, Armageddon?
I'm always looking forward to see some sweet Noxus control decks in.
I'm
And
always looking forward to see mid-range decks, so I think we're both happy here.
so I'm excited for our last game. These decks are very high, as you said last time. The loser is going to be not get knocked out, is going to get knocked out, and the winner is going to advance. So the highest stakes match we have today.
Hmm. And something I would like to point out, if you could look at the schedule,
In
is every match today was 2-0 except the ones we watched. That has to mean something. So this game will be 2-1 as well. And actually, I'm looking for a panel right now. It was always like the person on top who won. So following this, Rivage should take it from here? Question mark. Let's take a look at the lineups. Rivage, we already know. Triple mid range, very solid. On the other hand, Kaizen playing the control lineup of today, and we jump right into it. Nora Swain, Ravenbloom Conservatory. We have only seen any Gwent so far with this landmark. But this is just the classic Noxus control. We see the House Spider, Junk Construct, Sentry. Actually, what is the free mana spell? I do not know that.
That's Kashuri Swipe that deals 2 damage or kills a wounded target.
Damage. Okay. Okay. We have to say that the Noxus control is missing Broadmain. The developers forgot to rotate him in.
That is a very unfortunate fact that we don't have Broadman in standard.
Yep. But I mean, Kaizen. I mean, he stood in, so maybe he. It seemed to be working. And one other thing I would like to point out that Kaizen, just like Vendorte and Lunaya, is a veteran of the league and qualified for the finals every single time so far. So today he could actually lose his streak and play to not be eliminated instead of play to win the league. So that's something to look forward to. So I know you, Armageddon, were really looking forward to the Noxus control. So can you tell me anything more about this deck and what it does?
So control in general seems pretty weak this season, and players who want to bring something that is a bit more control-y need to make some compromises. So we are looking at a very weak version of Nora Swain, because normally we would have access to Broadmain, we would have access to Concologist.
We do have Concologist.
Not Concologist, I meant the Aloof, and Aloof are a pretty crucial unit for this deck, discarding important win conditions and also drawing cards for the Nora portals to trigger, getting more value in the process. So this is weaker than peak Nora Swain, but Nora Swain is still a pretty strong concept, generating a lot of units that can jump block while deleting your opponent's threats. And we do play Ravenbloom Conservatory, which seems better than it was before, since people are not running too much landmark anymore, since Temple is not as present anymore.
Yeah.
So the Conservatory is a real win con in this deck.
Yeah. I'm actually wondering that there is no Scorched Earth in this deck, and what I would like to throw into the room is Early Bird. We were talking about that this deck kind of relies on getting rid of the big spells or big units by discarding them because you don't have you sometimes have a hard time, like especially with the big spells. I remember back then, very back then, Field Rush. Now it would rather be Harrowing.
And
Um,
discarding a
so
Harrowing would be very important.
yeah, what do you think about Early Bird in this deck?
Um, I mean, I do understand that we want to have something more fast-paced in Nora's Swain, so maybe the players think that they cannot afford to run a 2-mana do nothing, which obviously does something in discarding your opponent's win conditions. But in a lot of matchups, you cannot afford to spend 2 mana in a card slot to get some potential value later on. But I do think it is a very necessary card right now, especially if you're looking at Harrowing. But maybe Kaizen thinks and knows, because he knows this deck probably better than I do, that he can finish the game actually with like Ravenbloom, Conservatory, or Swain, and does not need to play around a Harrowing, for example.
Hmm.
Indeed. Um, so that's basically my thought about early bird in this deck. But
Yeah.
let's see what other decks he's bringing. We
Yep.
also
And
have
there's any Gwen.
something we
So,
have seen
hmm?
before.
Go ahead.
But very interesting changes here. We are running 2 Soul Harvest, which I think we haven't seen 2 of them, and also very notable 2 Scorched Earths. We have seen this running only 1. So we are a bit heavier on some different removal spells, and we are only running 2 Conservatories. So we have fewer win conditions and are a bit better uh, suited for removing enemy threats.
Yeah, and I mean, I personally am just a pretty big fan of Gwyn, so I prefer this version. Although I would say that generating a lot of units out of jump blockers would come in handy for the mid-range matchups. So I think the Nora Swain would be rather favored in the against Rivage's lineup.
Indeed, I would think so as well. But we have actually seen this any Gwen deck actually winning one of the harder mid-range lineups with Nico Garen.
Yeah, but now, like the question we need to answer is, was that because of like very well execution on Vendorti's side? Uh, because I don't think we can rely on um like that happening consistently.
I mean, we have definitely seen the draw of Annie into double Raven Bloom Conservatory, which was a which resulted in Vendorti being able to threaten lethal very fast. Also, we were able to level Annie, so those were very important contributing factors to deciding this match. So I would say, of course, Vendorti played it very well, but the
Hmm.
draws also were heavy in his favor, getting this Annie on turn 1 with the attack token on turn 1, which is also important. Because if you get Annie on 2 and his opponent Rivage, in this case, develops Jadulski, this is this might be a very different story.
Mm. Yeah, I agree, but I think let's just see how that turns out. And let's take a look at deck 3, which is Ignaniali. It was banned in the last game on the side of Revanche. I was just wondering because this is quite a different list. I see Risu. I see skip King of the Reef, which is kind of discarding cards from the opponent, if you want to look at it like that. A lot more 2-offs, 1-offs, but as a whole concept, still the same deck.
It is still the same deck. Reso is pretty sweet with the Wings giving in combi, transforming the 1/3 body into an actual 6-drop might be pretty disgusting at times. But
I
overall,
agree.
the deck probably does something very similar to the list we have already seen. And I would assume that we might be able to see it, considering that we are not playing, that Kaizen is not playing into a control lineup, which would hate to play into this.
Yeah. I can see that. I'm already thinking about bans. That's why
And let's
I'm a bit
move to the
silent here.
bans then. And you
Um,
can take your guesses.
I take my guesses. So, like previously, I was always like on the right to say, okay, the mid-range deck is too strong. It needs to be banned. But now there are 3 mid-range decks.
Yeah, now
And
you have to actually decide.
Yeah, now I have to think about my ban.
I mean, I know
Well-
what I would ban, to be honest. That would be an easy choice for me, but I have like slightly personal biases.
You are biased. You know your bans. So to make it quick, I guess I would ban Nora Swain and Gnani Daddy.
So we have
Those are my quick guesses because the games are starting, so I'm a bit stressed.
Gnanidale. I can tell you are pretty much wrong here,
Yeah. Okay.
but only half of it. Poro King. Of course we are banning Poro King. But let's look at the
Yeah. Yeah. Was my first guess. But hey, doesn't matter. We are in game of the Aphrodite corner match, and it is opened by Gnar nearly on the side of
sorry, my
Rivash,
bad.
and Kaizen plays any Gwen. We see a beautiful Mount Targon here on the screen.
Sorry. I will fix
Don't
that.
worry. So I will once again try to comment through the lineup screen. Nidali is being played early by Rivash on turn 2 as the Shadow in the Brush, and Kaizen has both developed Annie and the Ravengloom Conservatory. So both players are set up for their game plans so far. I do not see Kaizen's hand. I see in Rivage's hand though, Wingsgiving, Gnar, Big Game Tycoon. So everything you really want to win the game. Also the 6-drop, the Overwhelm, which is not the best unit, I would argue, in the Nidali package. But I'd love to hear about your opinion on that. Ooh, also Gwen.
Oh, now we are back in the game. So
We're so back.
okay, let's see. We are here. We have seen Landmark being traded off, and we have a very similar start to last time, right? With the Annie, the Landmark.
Yes. There is no Withering Whale this time. There is a Vile Feast that might be used on Burt. But let's go through.
Not
Probably.
being used. We want to develop Gwen. It seems like probably because we want to open attack with that Gwen. I mean open attacking.
I can see that. Gnar here is pretty annoying because it denies the open attack.
It does. We might open attack regardless, pokering on something, but this is fairly risky.
Yeah, I mean we can bluff Disintegrate.
We can bluff Disintegrate, but Disintegrate here would be actually answerable with the Quicksand, which then
True.
would be answered by another ping spell, so I assume you don't block here.
Yeah, there are multiple layers to it. I think this attack is really crucial for how the mid game will turn out, and we will see there's a preemptively played Quicksand, which suggests a block. It comes through. Gnar blocking the Gwen, and there's really nothing Kaizen can do in this spot.
So Kaizen bluffing disintegrate, Rivage reading the block, reading the bluff, saying you don't have it. And now Kaizen taking another risk, knowing he needs to take risks to win this game. But it did not pay off. And now he is in a very bad spot. But
Yes,
we
indeed.
do have leveled any and counted down landmark. So despite everything going wrong this turn for Kaizen, he can still play and maybe win this game.
Let's hope for that. Any flip, yeah, helps. There's the Tibbers, there's the Tibok. Both pretty good units, especially the Tibbers would delay Rivage's game plan for now a bit, and then with Tibok, and now the Withering Whale. No, it's not Withering Whale, it is, what's it called?
This is
The-
actually Withering Whale, the Risen
No, the
Mist.
Snow Spell.
Oh,
Snow
this
Spell.
Snow
Withering
Spell
Mist.
is
Withering Mist.
Withering
Everything's
Mist,
withering.
actually.
Which has quite a lot of synergy with Tibok. So, but also Withering Whale. Also pretty synergistic.
I will see. Rivage, Kaizen definitely has to push damage fairly soon because he is definitely getting outvalued. And we might be able to stay alive for quite some time with those drain spells, but we will eventually need to finish this game.
Yeah, that would be advantageous to finish the game. Indeed, there's another rush coming down, and I would argue it's a pretty even game state as of right now. But the value that Rivage's hand provides might be a difference long term. Although Kaizen can hold on for long. 3 healing spells, a buff by Tibok, a stun provided by Tibbers.
Yes, and I think Nidalee is leveling here if we use the
Is
transform.
she? Yeah, I think she's on 3. And with the 1 mana spell, she goes on 4.
She's on 2 actually.
Oh, okay, she's on 2. Then my bad.
So this push unit would actually need to hit for Nidalee to level, generating 1 more unit. And we are pre-casting that, so Kaizen knows he has to block this 3 attack unit. And we won't get this Nidalee attack in this turn.
Yep. Which hurts Rivage considerably. Because, you know, getting the Nidalee attack there, getting an early spear, shooting the Annie, that would really accelerate the game plan. Instead, she only flips now. But the attack is still good. Tibok with the Overwhelm, any stuns, and I think it deals 4 damage now to anything that would
It
block it.
deals 4 damage and it stuns as well.
Yep.
And if we don't block it, we take even more damage, so we can threaten quite a lot here. And Nidalee being forced to block would be huge. And I think he is thinking about not blocking or blocking with Gnar, getting the poke stick.
Yeah,
But if you're assigned not to
drop.
block, you drop down to 7, which might be an issue if you're not able to finish the game next turn.
I was about to say, because there's a triple Blades Edge in Kaizen's deck, there's Captain Farron, which not only is a 8/8 Overwhelm unit, but also provides 2 Decimates.
Which will
So dropping-
deal 5 damage respectively.
Yep. Which could turn out as a huge issue for Kaizen as soon as you drop down to single-digit HP. The game tilts in a direction, but on the other hand, I said it before and I'll say it again, Rivaj's hand is full of value. Big Game Tycoon now coming down. Very synergistic with both the champions that Rivaj has already developed. The Overwhelm unit. That's name I don't know because it's pretty bad.
The Overwhelm unit, which is pretty bad.
Well, it's true. It can go for nice lethals in combination with Big Game Tycoon, but it's too inconsistent. Ooh, Gwen. There's a Gwen.
Yeah, we will probably.
We won't play
not
it. We won't
see-
play it. We need the healing, but there's a Gwen. There's a goal.
There is
And
indeed
yeah,
a Gwen.
damaging the two units here is just really good for the Tibbers. Rivash can see the Tibbers in hand of Kaizen, so yeah, open
This-
information about that, and it's probably now considering to open attack or whether to
Oh,
open
I
attack.
don't think we ever consider open attacking here, since if we don't kill Kaizen this turn, this looks very grim. So we need to find a line where we are winning this turn. Kaizen, on the
Yeah,
other
it-
hand, needs to survive at any cost, and this will be pretty hard this turn, considering we do have potentially a very big elephant trampling in, and he sees that elephant as the
Yeah.
thing it is, and this
Really
looks
great
like a very game-deciding Tibbers.
Yep, it is indeed. The Teddy's coming down, and the Teddy looking to kill 3 units. The Gnar alone can't do much. Yeah, I think there was a line to just play the Vastayan first and bait.
And the problem
Tibbers?
is, if you are playing the Vastayan first, you're still not winning the. Actually,
You are,
You-
because you can still go for the other. Ah, no, you can't. I'm stupid. I'm stupid.
yes. So
Yeah,
then you're
my
probably
bad.
still not winning the game.
Yeah,
So there
but
was.
it seems like no matter what, we are not winning the game. Do we let the Gnar go through? The Gnar will flip anyways because of the impact it got from Chief Nakotak.
I mean, I would let this Gnar go through if I were Kaizen. Just
Yeah.
4 or 5 damage won't matter with the amount of healing we have in hand.
Exactly. I was just about to say, and the healing is buffed because it's drain damage, not just plain healing. So Tibok gives us more healing on every card. Vow Feast extremely synergistic with the Tibok. We have the Gwen, which I had a pretty emotional realization last match about how well they work together, and Blade Dodge from above. Kaizen finds himself in a very winning spot. Even if
Actually,
the
don't have lethal here. It looks like. If
even
right, if that
I mean even with
Spiderling is
the
being
thing
killed.
being denied.
We do have the deny for blades. Actually, we need the deny for any spell.
Yep,
not die
correctly.
here,
Because
then
Rivash
Blade
has to
Edge.
commit it now, and then we can play Blades Edge. Even we can play 2 Withering Whales to increase the overwhelm damage.
Oh, and we are doing that.
Yep.
And this seems to be
the-
enough.
The emotional damage.
And we are
Uh,
at full HP again as well.
Yeah, Kaizen never lost HP this game. And winning it clean. Going up ahead against Rivash in his first game, mid-range, not proving to be strong. It seems like maybe Kaizen was doing a right call on not banning the Gnar Nidalee. What I'm looking forward is the mirror that is quite likely to occur now. Because both players are bringing the Gnar Nidalee, and this is exactly what happens now. We are in game 2, which will feature Gnar Nidalee versus Gnar Nidalee. Rivash faces Kaizen in this matter, but I said it when we talked about the deck lists specifically. The lists are quite different, with Kaizen playing a much more diverse list. He plays the Changeling that we could have we saw in the Mulligan for a second. He plays Skip, King of the Reef, and Rissu, the Silent Storm. All units that are rather situational, I would argue, in this deck. And yeah, like Kaizen just keeps the deck small and compact. A lot of 3-offs and 2-offs. And goes for the same game plan every single game, I would assume. And now we see both hands. Rivash has the champions.
Rivash had his champions, but Kaizen
has the Wingsgiving.
Wingsgiving and the Changelings.
Changeling transforms itself, right?
And
it's
Changeling
like imitation.
transforms itself, just like the Valley of Imitation. But I think having Chief Nakotak and 2 champions is probably better.
It's quite superior.
And we will see if Kaizen can do something with that hand. I would probably assume that Kaizen is looking at playing for like one big combo turn, with maybe stacking like 2 triggers of Wingsgiving beforehand. Then playing the 2 changelings, maybe actually the Pario Fund as a normal unit.
It already sounds stupid. It can only be bad.
But I'm thinking if there's a line where we just go for the 3 8-drops on turn 6, and this might actually be the stronger hand if we can pull this off and get a solid 8-drop.
Yeah, I think it might be the elusive here.
Yes. And it looks like
now the changing comes down.
And it looks like we are actually playing for this line.
Yeah. Probably another changeling coming down. And then Kaizen just prays for a good 6-drop to transform into.
Which would mean we are developing Changeling and probably the Bastaya as a bush. And we won't actually use the transform spell. Let's see what's happening. Will...
I mean, being able to bluff anything.
Oh, this would be a... Ooh, we are not going for that. We are going for triple Pario.
He gets the Parofan, that's funny.
That's actually quite good here.
Yeah, but I think having 3 of the mecha casters is too good in it. Look at this.
we are forcing some trades, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the elephant showing up was quite funny.
Yes, I like this a bit more. Kaizen probably sees that it will get pretty hard to survive next turn without using his transforms. So he decides not to go for this already a pretty risky 8-drop play and transforms into a 6-drop.
Yep. Play I definitely agree with. And yeah, the Gnar is pretty hefty, isn't it? 8 attack, impact, overwhelm. We're looking to swing in for some damage. The Nidalee is also still in hand, a changeling. Although, I think in this case, do you transform Chief Nakotak? Because how I see it, you don't have any targets for the Wingsgiving.
I mean, you don't have a Wingsgiving anymore, right?
Yeah, but like he played it. He spent 3 mana on it instead of preparing Nidalee.
I see. I would assume he would transform Chief Nakotak. probably after transforming Nidalee.
Mm.
So he would get the value from one transform, would get the value on Chief Nakotak does get the value if he transforms himself, as far as I know, from his passive effect. And we did draw another this changeling top deck from Kaizen looks pretty, is probably game deciding.
Yep, because the Mecha Casters in combination with the Overwhelm are very hefty, and I have to add there is a Rite of Negation backing it up, so the Warlock we can see in Rivage's hand might not matter too much, and Kaizen is looking probably for an open attack. Hold on, let me count mana. It's 8 mana. Okay, so it's not enough for both Rite of Negation and Transform. Now, we could play Skip King of the Reef.
Could play Skip, that Skip could get rid of the stun spell as well.
Yeah, the question is, like, you know, we have Caster Vision, of course, but does...
But I don't think there's a punishment for not
there is a
automatic.
punishment for it, especially if you don't hit it, and Pokestick gonna be removed. But like I can also see it because the elusive goes to 5 attack.
Yes,
right?
yes, this elusive is gonna hit for
Oh, that's
quite some
that's
damage.
intense. This one attack will decide
And we have like
a lot because Kaizen is on the brink, right? To make it to finals, but he's not allowed to get too greedy.
this would be the first 2-0 we would be spectating.
Yes, and it seems like we're pretty close to it because 37 damage showing. That is more than lethal. You can almost kill 2 Nexuses with that.
But we are able to defend.
Rivage committing the blocks. What is the yeah, the Rivage's brush is also an what's it called? Paraffin? Paraffin.
Yeah. And this seems like a very close game. If we had hit
Indeed,
the
indeed.
stun spell, this would have been lethal. Like this, we are looking at a similarly not as strong attack, but an attack that is strong enough from Rivage coming in.
Yep.
So this game
And
swings from one
there's a
side
lot
to
of
the
backlash
other.
coming to it. And while the Transform like all the changelings did a very good job, it was slightly not enough for Kaizen in this case, and now there's another big attack coming through, and the changeling will become a big overwhelm unit, and now already only 1 HP left for Kaizen. Pokestick coming down after the attack. Rivage would also have the Javelin Toss from the Nidalee. So this is lethal by quite a number of ways. No matter if the Rite of Negation comes through here or not. Kaizen, yeah, doesn't win. And you know what that means? It will be a game 3.
Beautiful. So we haven't had 2-0 wins today.
Nope. Everything in the entire bracket today was 2-0, except the broadcasted matches. It is a curse. It is a curse, and...
Let's say it's a blessing.
True. Depending on how you look at it. And therefore, the final match, or the final game of today, will be Garen Miku into Gnar Nidalee. Mid-range poor beating each other up, and I'm telling you, I think Rivage is favored.
I can say that I'm not too familiar with those matchups.
Ah. Yeah, that's the expertise, yeah. From intense curving units. Oh, and I can tell you, I see a hand that looks quite devastating. Omenhawk into Yadutsky with token on 2 is quite strong.
Although in the best case you have to draw the Yazulski after.
Yeah, that's the best case. But you know, we can't always assume the best case. Sometimes we have to live with good things in life. And oh no, okay, the screen was weird. It looked like Rivash had choken on 2. Then my bad. I have not said anything. It's still a good hand. Double Omen Hawk and Yudutsuki, very nice. And Rivash can count up 1, 2, 3. Yudutsuki into the telescope. On the other hand, what is... Sorry, I missed it. What is the brush?
That's a Nidalee.
Oh.
We can
Oh,
see
oh.
that on the right side here.
Yeah, yeah. That's a Nidalee. Oh, crazy. Kaizen. Kaizen having some balls here. But he's
I mean,
bluffing
he
the...
does
He's
have,
bluffing the free one.
he does have
I know.
the suit up spell that gives health only if it's a bush.
Yeah, true, true. But still.
I mean, he would probably be very happy if Rivash decided to trade that dog.
Probably, yeah. Now, what are the choices? Emperor's Army, once again, yeah, it will be once again the silence. It is just way too good to not be picked in most scenarios, and especially in those, I would say rather effect-heavy, mid-range decks. Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and now Kaizen proactively using the Nidalee spell. Getting the trade-off, which is fine. And while I talked about Rivash's hand being so good earlier, you still need like follow-up. You still need your high-end units or top-end units. I assume the play would be Omenhawk, Badgerbeer, and Prey or Nico soon.
If praying is part of your plan, that's already quite problematic.
It's gonna be fine.
I assume we take the Relentless Pursuit, although there's an argument
No,
for
no,
taking
no, no,
Omen
no,
Hawk.
no, we do not take the Relentless Pursuit here. Because like the point is, what are you gonna rally with? Right?
I can see that.
Already without the hand, just the way Rivash is playing it, you can tell that his hand isn't looking too great. And a rally with a dead board, or like a mediocre board, isn't doing anything. A rally is only strong with a strong board, and you only get the strong board if you play the Omen Hawk and draw. No, you don't have the Omen Hawk.
Yes.
Which is why you do it like this. You see? Mid-range expertise. I
see. And we get the decision if we want to trade off this board even more. Blocking with Nidalee.
Which is something he could go for, but doesn't have to. That's rather a preference. Just now, I am curious what happens if we transform Skip.
No, I guess he just becomes a free drop. He's still capturing this Omen Hawk, but he's a different unit.
I mean, we'll see.
But the beautiful thing about those mid-range matchups is that most of the time, especially against the Massa, you don't really have to care about Nexus damage all that much. Rivash has some reach, especially with the bird that gives impact. But other than that, there's really no point in worrying about your Nexus HP. Badgerbeer would be a pretty high-stated unit for its mana cost, and we decide
and keeps the capture. That's strong. Like, I think Badgerbeer in this case is one of the best hits Kaizen could have gotten.
Probably one of the best hits. The best hits are always the transform units that have effect when transformed, but you can't have everything. The Conch here is a very sweet jump blocker. And
sneaky swap. I've never seen that. But I think it should be a Prowl.
Prowl, maybe Glare just to have more value in hand, but I think
to have
I
would have went for the Prowl, but both are fine. And can you check how much Nidalee is?
Nidalee should be on 2, I think. No, it's 3 actually.
Okay. So we definitely do level her up next turn. Yeah, I really like the hand. Just we open with Pioneer.
Oh no, we are opening with Gnar, right?
Oh, because then I didn't see that Nakotak is silenced. Then yeah, we are opening like this, and Legion Veteran seems pretty good.
Yes, that Niederle is doing a lot of work here. Putting pressure, getting the javelin toss, removing even more units, and Rivage board is just obliterated. Board be gone.
Yeah, more and more Badger beers coming down.
And we are at a
Yeah.
spot with a mid-range deck where we really don't want to be. Like everything this deck wants to do needs a board to do it with, and if we don't have that board,
Mm.
we
Yeah,
are.
and this prowl just pretty much seals the deal, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Kaizen getting the spear, being able to remove the telescope. And I guess Rivage can play 2 1-drops, but like, they ain't doing much.
He can also rally
Whoa!
with those 1-drops.
Oh, the spider is buffed. Oh no. So yeah, Gnar flips, and there's a glare for value, and yeah, Rivage let me down. Didn't come up to my prediction. There is a lizard, but the lizard is late to the party.
It's a bit small.
I mean, it's not small. It's
It's big
it's
for a
average.
lizard.
Uh, and with that, we finish the final game of today's Triangle Bracket of the knockout stage, and we have watched 12 games over 4 matches, which is the maximum amount, which was a great pleasure. Let me get the results in really quick. Yeah, so Kaizen qualified, not getting his 6-0 run from third place, like he did in the first 2 seasons. He actually dropped against Rivage, and now got his revenge. What a story!
Indeed.
Actually, I'm noticing a pretty funny structure here, because mit Cappuccino and Kaizen played against each other, and then they did again in like A3 and C2. And the same structure is like with Rivage and Kaizen, and also Rivage and Vendorti.
The players
Okay.
definitely do have the chance to redeem themselves if they started
Yeah,
higher up in the bracket.
they do have the chance. And in this case, Kaizen did. Kaizen redeemed and got the final spot in the finals of the Aphrodite Alpha League next week, where he will join Lunaya, Synergy, and Vendorti. In the finals, his opening match will be against Seed 1 Lunaya, the former champion, looking to reclaim the throne after winning it all in the Winter Dusk season. And now once again at Seed 1, just like she was back then. On the other hand, newcomer Synergy and Vendorti are here as well, and this looks like a very intense finals, doesn't it?
It does. Also, the players bringing we have seen a lot of players bringing any Gwen, and
Yeah.
it seems to have paid off because all the players playing any Gwen, I think. Oh no, not
I mean,
Newman, but
Newman got
three or
eliminated.
four players bringing any Gwen are in the finals
Yeah.
this week. So a deck I did not have on my radar as being that strong, but a
Yeah.
lot of players seem to agree, and they were in the right at the end.
They were in the right indeed. But do you think it is the best control deck at the moment?
I think there's a good chance it is. With the state of control right now, and this deck being able to deal with a lot of aggro, a lot of fast-paced stuff, I think it is probably one of the best control decks right now. Probably the best, but we will have to see.
The meta only has a couple of days to develop with the rotation coming in on Wednesday. Other than that, other popular decks were the Jan and Nyla. Both players bringing it, also advanced, but I don't think we need a discussion about Jan and Nyla. But the other deck I want to talk about is the Gnarly Lily. We had Rivage and Kaizen playing it, both, and followed a bit throughout the day. And I would like to know from you again, first of all, what about Value of Imitation? Second of all, what is the power level of this deck? Where's the place of the deck in this current meta?
I think Valley. So first off, I think my opinion about Valley of Imitation is kind of at the point where we do have, like, basically we do have 4 strong free drops for this deck with Nakotak, Changelings, and the 2 landmarks. And we have to decide. We probably have to decide between. We have to decide for running 3 out of 4 of them, and we have to cut 1 because 4 free drops is probably too much.
Yeah.
And then it's probably Valley is probably the cut, I would say. But we could run a split where we are not running 3 of all of them. So we can definitely play Valley of Imitation. And the state of the deck in this format, I would say, it's definitely a very strong counter to those control lists. Noxus control lists with any Gwen. If we are seeing a lot more any Gwen and stuff similar to that, like Nora Swain, this will be a very prominent deck. And even against mid-range, it is able to hold its own. So I would say it has a good spot in this current meta.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was very unfamiliar with most of the decks we've seen today. I think it helped me getting another glimpse at the meta. Were there any other decks that surprised you today, aside from Evelyn, Garen? We don't talk about that one.
I don't think surprising. I really like the Gnar Nora list running Bandletree. I think that was a very.
It was kind of bad, wasn't it? I mean,
it didn't.
No
perform,
offense.
It didn't perform good, but I really like the idea of this list running Bandletree in this current format just as value generation. In a Noxus control shell. I mean, we have seen that idea previously with a much stronger version of Bandletree.
Yeah.
But I still like this deck, and probably one of my favorite decks that was brought today, besides like any Gwen.
I see. Now that we have the 4 competitors that will fight for the trophy next week, I would like to take a look at the championship points. Because besides the money, this is what players are fighting for mainly. Of course, everyone in the league earns championship points, but to get an actual amount, we cannot see the top contenders, Vendorti and Lunaya, on this here. But you can see how different it is. For example, Ismail and Yassine both scoring last place in each previous season respectively, and it scales up pretty highly. So if you get to finals or not makes a huge difference. Now we see everything. And Lunaya told us in the recent interview that her plan is to match Vendorti as soon as possible to get that leading spot in the championship point rating. And if you're wondering what the championship points are about, I dearly want to invite you to our Discord server, where we are currently hosting the reveal spoiler season of the Aphrodite EMEA Championship, the big tournament at the end of the year that the leagues are only leading to, which is supposed to be, the dramatic end to the year, not to say like a world championship. And yeah, you can every Friday, you can read about new information about this huge tournament with another new and innovative format. You can read about there, and of course, there's something else the players are battling for: the money. And let's take a last look at the prize pool that will be distributed in the final week of the Spring Dawn season. Next week, it is the all-known 200 euro prize pool, and first place gets 80, second 50, third 30, and fourth and fifth each get 20, which means that even Rivage, who we saw losing previously and going to the elimination round, can still gain some money and make his attendance here at the league worth the time. And yeah, about that, I think, Armageddon, like, what are your main takeaways after this day, aside from caster blessing or curse, whatever you want to call it, of Game 3? I think we had it previously too, sometimes, but never that intense that everything else was 2-0, except for us. So, yeah, what are your takeaways, other than the Any Gwen seemingly being a very strong deck?
I think those were some pretty enjoyable games to watch today. We have the problem in the competitive lore side that games tend to be one-sided sometimes, especially in some matchups. There are matchups that are pretty much unwinnable, but we have seen some very close games today, and
Indeed.
and I think that was very very good. I have not. I was pretty pessimistic about the state of control, but it seems like players are able to find some decent control decks, even in a format like this. So players are innovating, and that's always good to see.
I mean, to be honest, we did not see the GOAT, the Azir Aurelia. So sad about. I was hoping for some sort of Ionia combo today. Even if it would only be ephemerals, but Azir Aurelia. I'm like, maybe I have to play it myself, so it shows up in the tournament. I'm scared that it's just too bad.
You're probably right. You have to play it yourself. But we are in this together. I was praying for Rise to show up in our previous tournaments, and he